reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We are one less sleep away from the start of the high school football season. We got two high school coaches coming on the show today. Dan Yeagley will be stopping by at 12:15, and Dan Reardon will be stopping by at 1 o'clock. And, man, Ty, like I said, one more day closer to the start of college football. Thursday kicks it off, and then we have a big slate of games on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have high school football back in the area, and you know, just local sports. And for everything, it seems like week one's going off without a hitch, and we're going to be full capacity in most stadiums, so it's going to be great. We'll get to talk with, of course, Yeagley, and he gets to preview that very intriguing week one matchup with Springfield here in just a few minutes, though. And then, of course, state championship, possibly Ursuline Irish coach Dan Reardon on at 1 o'clock, too, so we get to talk to him a little bit. So very exciting today.
We don't want to put too much pressure on Dan Reardon before the season even championship.
State championship, maybe. I mean, hey, we gotta mention it. Everybody else is talking about him in the picture. You can't. I don't think the Irish or the dark horses are flying under the radar anymore.
No, when you get preseason number one in Division 4, you know.
Yeah. There's definitely eyes looking at you now. You're definitely you're something to watch.
More rain yesterday kind of X'd out any scores that we would get. Most of the golf teams did get canceled. The one score we did get, we actually released during the show because it was a morning's score. Sorry, it was a morning score. Mineral Ridge beat Jackson Milton, and we gave that on the show yesterday. So another day where we just don't have too many scores to announce, but that's going to be very different very soon, which is what we love to hear.
It's the calm before the storm right now, and we know the storm's coming. So yeah, we're just in the calm before the storm. Don't worry, the storm's coming, and it's just a few days away. But let's see what we have too. Did we want to go right into a volleyball preview?
Also on the docket today, we have Division 3 volleyball. 12 more teams to cover in Division 3, just like 12 in Division 2. It's worked out. We didn't even know when we planning it that it was going to be the exact same number of teams in both divisions, but 12 and 12. So we'll have 12 more teams being previewed today. We'll get through as many as possible. We hope to get through all 12. If not, we'll just continue it tomorrow. But hey, whatever it takes, we're Captain American this thing. Whatever it takes, man. Want to let everyone know the comment section is live, no matter what platform you're watching on, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can comment, and we will see it. We will put it up on the air. Also, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning phone line is active. 330-886-0813 is the number to reach us. We would love to hear from you. And one of the things we're getting ready to hear from is Coach Yeagley. We're going to take a quick timeout right now because actually Coach Yeagley just texted me. He wants me to email him the link, and I got to be able to do that off the air. So we're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to get Coach Yeagley the link to come on, and he will be on soon. Don't go anywhere on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability.
Good, how are you?
It's 21 News at 6 with me,
Yeah,
Madison
it is. We're on a
Palmer,
commercial
and
break
Derek
right
Steyer.
now, but I
21 News at 6.
We'll
It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier.
Okay.
Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods.
I'll put you on hold and we'll
Inspiration
get you up
starts
after
at
this commercial.
BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Welcome back to YSN's Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, as we have successfully gotten the link out to Coach Higley, who now will be joining us soon. We have a caller on the hotline. Caller, who we have on the hotline, and welcome to Running Point.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you guys today?
We are good. You can hear me. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear Ty, but he's doing good too. Yeah. I can speak for him. What do you want to talk about?
Well, this is Akron Shrek, the number 78 mini stock, the one that actually hit the wall hard in Deerfield.
Oh man,
the one that you guys were talking about Sunday morning.
Well, give us an update. How you doing? Because that was a rough crash.
I'm still waiting to try to see if anybody else got any better videos. I mean, it was a fluke. It's basically one of the cars blew an engine in a straight stretch right there, and 3 to 4 of us got loose, and the guy behind me, there was really nowhere for me to go. I hit Trevor's car and went right into the wall behind Trevor's car. So, I mean, it was a hard hit. I initially got out of the race car. I was fine. Got in the tow truck, towed back to the pit stall. As soon as I got out of the tow truck, I took like 4 or 5 steps, and I had to sit down on the ground and lay back because I was in pain. I've got a bruised collarbone. I've got some bruised ribs and a bruised kneecap. But other than that, my safety equipment did its job. But I mean, that was one heck of a ride.
Yeah, it was a gnarly crash. We're glad to hear that you're okay and doing well, because you see something like that, you obviously you think the worst, but couldn't be happier to hear that overall you walked away from the crash.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. You know, the car is totaled. We're in the process of, as a matter of fact, later on this evening, I'm supposed to be going down to Marion, Ohio to pick up another one. We found a 06 Chevy Cobalt that we found that's race ready. We're going to go down to Marion, Ohio and pick it up because the Cavalier that I'm running, you know, the subframe in the front bent and broke, and you know, it's the joys of racing, man. I mean, we take that chance every week.
Yep.
You know, most of us guys, you know, we don't have big time sponsors. You know, we're not corporate sponsored cars. You know, there's 4 or 5 of us out there that are budget racers. You know, we're fattening racers is what I call them. You know, we race on a budget and we just go out to have fun for our fans. I'm a 3rd generation race car driver, and you know, this is my first real rookie season, and I'm out here having fun. You know, I race asphalt at Barberton Speedway in the trophy stock division, and we've brought my car twice down to Deerfield because we want to support another local track when we're not racing. I don't care who it upsets or whatever. I mean, you know, people are going to say things on Facebook. People are going to talk about things, but you know, in the long run, it's all about supporting our fans and supporting local tracks and keeping racing alive.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the pillars of why we joined Corey Renforth's car, and we believe in what you guys are doing, and we wanted to help out in any way we could.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you brought Corey up. A couple of his guys were down at the track, and you know, the next day, Sunday morning, everybody was in my inbox making sure I was okay, which is, you know, for being a racer that doesn't race at that track, everybody was concerned. And like, that's the biggest thing. Like, even Jim Good called me that morning and checked up on me. You know, that's something you're not going to see at a regular NASCAR track, or something, you know, most fans don't see behind the scenes. You know, when it doesn't matter. Like, you could be a rival race car driver and you could have something happen in the pits, and people would, as long as there's no bad blood, people would come over and help you. And you saw that Saturday night. You see that most Saturday nights at the local racetracks. You know, for instance, got to give a shout out to Jeremy Ross with Ross Race Shop. You know, he had 2 tires, beadlock tires he let me borrow for the heat race, you know, and it let the car handle better. And I put my regular tires back on for the feature. But I mean, you know, you got to give shout out to those local guys that are out here that's been racing for years that want to support the younger generation. I have a teammate with Deal Milham Racing here in Akron. He's 14 years old, and he has a straight compact car that he's racing right now in the compact division. And it's really cool to see the young ones. We have 2 young people that race the trophy stock division up there in Barberton. You know, we have Harmony Betts, and then we have Paul Magnum III, which is the ones that race the trophy stock division with me. You know, Paul's, I think, 17, and Harmony's like 14. You know, it's about the younger generation coming up and seeing them want to get into racing. You know, watching the Bandoleros, watching the Legends, watching some of the sprint cars. That was my first time seeing those big cars at the track, and it was pretty fun watching them.
Well, it's definitely a community that respects. I think it respects everyone in the community, because they all obviously understand the risk you're taking every time you get in that car. So I think that's one of the reasons why you see people just absolutely willing to help when people are in bad situations, because everyone kind of gets it. You know, it's one of those rock solid communities in the racing community, especially when you water it down to a local community. You know, like you said, not a lot of corporate sponsors down there, not a lot of egos getting in the way. So the community is really going to respect each other and help each other out.
Yeah, that's just like what happened Saturday. You know, I had to get taken out in an ambulance because, you know, they didn't know if I had broken ribs or broke my collarbone or anything. But my guys were having trouble loading my trailer up, loading my car back on the trailer. And it's like everybody came over to help push my car up onto the trailer and everything because of the damage. And it was like, you know, I can't thank everybody enough. You know, the phone calls, the Facebook messages, everybody worried. It's like, looking back now, you know, I'm just glad to be a part of the Ohio racing community, for the simple fact of the matter is, is I've got people in my corner. I've got people that I can talk to and I can trust. And, you know, everybody just checking up on me. It's just so amazing how, you know, I got people I don't even know sending me friends requests on Facebook and messaging me, hey, I'm glad you're okay. What do you need to do? What's going on?
Well, we definitely appreciate you calling. We definitely are glad that you're okay, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. You guys have a good evening and enjoy the show.
All right. We definitely appreciate the call, and nice to know that he's okay. And now we have to get to our first guest of the day, as Coach Dan Yeagley of the South Range Raiders football team will be joining us on Running Point. Coach, getting you in there. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We had to get you on. It's a tradition. It's you know, you can't talk football in the area without talking about you and what you're doing at South Range.
Well, I really appreciate it, Anthony. You know, it's a South Range is a great place. I enjoy being there, and you know, luckily they brought me back again this year, and we're having fun. And we're looking forward to this big Week 1 matchup, and it's going to be a tough one, but we're really looking forward to it.
You're not shying away from starting off the season with a tough one in Springfield, but it's also a rival, so you don't have to worry about getting your kids up for that game Week 1 either, because I'm sure the whole community very excited for this Week 1 matchup with Springfield.
Oh, sure are. The kids are excited. They've been excited for a long time. And like I said, the community just loves this game. I mean, they love South Range versus Springfield. They love the rivalry. They love, you know, these two teams going at it. And, you know, Coach Guerrero does a great job, you know, year in and year out. Look what he's done the last 2 years. And they're a very good football team. And we're looking forward to this matchup. And I'm looking forward to getting after it on Friday night.
Coach, reflect on the season you had last year and what steps need to be taken to make improvements from last year to this year.
Well, you know what? We're blessed to have a season last year. I mean, we were worried that we weren't going to have one at all. You know, we were given the okay to practice and start working out with the kids, and then we still didn't know if we were going to have games. You know, we didn't get Springfield last year because we decided to go all league games. That's what the league decided. So, you know, but the kids bonded together. They had a great season. We had a great season last year. Made it to the regional finals. Got beat by Kirtland. Won the NE8, which is awesome. The kids played together. They played as a team. This year, we have to learn from what those guys did. You know, we have to learn from those teammates and how they brought the team together, especially during difficult times, and how they played together as a team each and every week. And understand that there's no easy weeks, not in our schedule, and we have to come ready to play every single week. And, you know, it's great. I think we play a lot of kids. We did play a lot of kids last year. Played a whole bunch of kids because we knew the season was going to be a little bit longer and a little bit different. And that gave us a lot of experience coming into this season because we play, like I said, we played a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids returning and a lot of kids with varsity experience.
Last year was so, I don't even know what the word to say. It was so uncertain. It was so weird. You know, we never knew what
we can say crazy.
Crazy. You get back to a normal routine this year. You know, you get the 10 games. You get to have your non-conference games. Put into words how important that is for the program, for the kids, and for your coaches to just be able to get back to a sense of a normal routine.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, some of our kids don't even realize, because, you know, last year was so different, how important these non-league games are. You know, we have Springfield, obviously, Friday night, which is a huge game for us, a good rivalry game against a very good opponent. Then we have University School, the D2 school coming into town, full of athletes. And, you know, that's very important too. And then we have Canton Central Catholic, who has a lot of kids coming back from a very good team last year. They're going to be loaded this year also. But that all this does, these 3 games, is to prepare us for league play. You know, the NE8 is the important one. I mean, that's what we're really fighting for, and we're going to have to learn as the season goes on during these non-league games, and to prepare us for the league play, because our league is very, very tough. They're very well coached. You know, they're great coaches in this league and great players, and that's what this non-league does. The non-league prepares us for league play. And then, you know, hopefully everything goes well and we get into the playoffs, and then the non-league and the league will prepare us for the playoffs.
Talking about that too, we talk about the routine and how that was different from last year compared to this year. Talk to me a little bit about this upcoming Friday and having full capacity in the stands again. How excited are the kids, and how excited are you to play in a full capacity South Range faithful?
Oh, very excited. I mean, it's so awesome being back to full capacity and everything else. The kids have been talking about it for a long time, ever since we started going back in June, getting after a little bit, and then July hitting a little bit harder, and then August, obviously. Just having everybody there. I mean, being in front of a full crowd, being in front of our fans, because South Range travels well. I mean, we have a great fan base. The community loves football. They love South Range athletics, period, and they support us very well. It's great having all of us together and being able to having them watch and having our crowd behind us, having our student base behind us, because our students travel well also, and we know they're going to be there in full force, and it's exciting times. I mean, it's what South Range football is all about. It's about community and getting together on a Friday night and having a little fun, watch a little football along the way, but still it's still a community time, and which is what it should be about. It should be about the community and bringing everybody together.
The summer workout is about a week shorter than it used to be, obviously, though, with the season starting a week earlier. So you've had to accelerate a lot of your normal summer plans. What have you learned so far about this team in the summer that you have had?
Well, it has been accelerated. I mean, we got shoulder pads on Monday and had a scrimmage on Saturday. We didn't even hit anybody until Thursday, and all of a sudden you're scrimmaging Montgomery, who's a very, very good team, very talented, and we're just trying to find out pieces. I mean, we're still trying to figure it out. That's the tough thing. Losing that week is huge. Just trying to find personnel, the right people in the right spots, getting everybody there. Luckily, I have a great staff. My staff is phenomenal. They work very, very hard, and they're evaluating kids every single day, their own kids, and trying to figure out who's in, who's not, who's right for the team. We got to figure out who's all the best 11 that we can get on the field that will make us the best team. And we've done a good job. We've improved a lot from our first scrimmage against Montgomery to our second scrimmage against Beaver Local. The kids got into a flow. They got into a little bit more of a rhythm. You could tell that it wasn't that we've had that extra week of practice before that Beaver Local scrimmage. And, this week has gone good so far. We've only had Monday practice, but we got through and put in, went through our scouting reports, went through some different things here and there. And, we're getting ready. I mean, today's going to be a crucial day of practice. Today's our defensive practice, and we're going to have to really work hard to stop Bo Brungard. So that's what we're working on today, and then tomorrow's our offensive day, and then we're into pregame and game day on Friday. So it's going well. We just have to that week off of practice, or the week of lost practice, is tough. But I think our kids have developed and adapted to it very well.
Obviously, without giving away too much, Coach, go ahead and preview a little bit about this upcoming game too. What maybe the coaching motto is for going into this game against Springfield, being at Springfield too, and maybe how you're going to try to take away that the New Middletown faithful out of the game a little bit.
Well, it comes down to we got to just do our job. I mean, every kid has a job to do every single play. And, we made some mistakes yesterday, just walking through some things and talking about some things, but there's no play more important than the next play. So whatever happens, you got to forget about it. You got to go on to the next play. You got to learn from it. We're going to do what we do. I mean, we're not going to change just because of it's Springfield or because it's University or Kansas Central Catholic or Poland or whoever. We're going to play South Range football. We do it. The kids understand that. They understand that they have to take care of their job, and we're going to play as a unit. We're going to play as a team, and whether it's somebody coming in because somebody else needs a break, they still become part of the team. And we're not surprising anybody. You know, the people can watch the film and they know what we do and understand what we're doing, and you know, no surprises. We're just going to try to execute and do the best that we can every single play, and on defense we got to tackle. I mean, you get those good running backs and those good receivers, and obviously the good quarterback, we have to tackle, and that's what it comes down to. So hopefully everything falls into place, and you know, we come out with a big victory over there, and come home and start preparing for the next week.
Before we let you go, we've been talking to so many coaches in the last couple of weeks from all the other sports. Talk about what gives you the passion for what you do, because obviously to do it as long as you definitely have to have a passion for it. What makes you kind of get up in the morning and say that you keep wanting to drive and be South Range's football coach and put in the time that it takes and keep doing it? What gives you that kind of fire in your belly to do it?
Well, you know what, I love the game of football, obviously, and it's a true team sport where you have 11 people that have to do the right thing every single time, and it's a challenge. It really is. And again, I'm lucky I have great assistant coaches to get everybody in the right, to help out and get everybody in the right situation. But you know what, my passion is the kids. You know, I love these kids. They put in a lot of time and a lot of work, and you know, football now is year round. You have to keep up with everybody else between weight training and conditioning, and then putting on the pads and getting after it. You know, I care so much about the kids, and I love them. And you know, we have fun. I mean, it's not a sometimes they need corrected and we have to get on them a little bit, but you know, we have a lot of fun, and I enjoy. You know, South Range is such a special place. I've said it over and over again. And these kids are very special young men, and they've committed to it. They've committed to the program. They've committed to my staff and myself, and they're going to give it all they have every single week and every single practice even. So my passion, you know, is just, you know, the love of the game and the love of the kids. And luckily I got a wonderful wife that allows me to do this. And, you know, Kelly's special also, because she's put up with me for doing this for a long time. And like I said, she's special also. And, you know, it's fun. I still enjoy it. Still enjoy going to practice every day. Still enjoy being with the young men and watching them grow and watching them excel and watching them to come together as a team is so satisfying. It's such a blessing. And like I said, I've been blessed over and over again to be here at South Range.
Coach, I don't think there's any doubt that South Range football program is extremely lucky to have you. And I don't think there's also any doubt that this Friday there is a bunch of great football matchups in the area. But tell me and tell some of the viewers why Springfield is the place to be this Friday night.
Oh, my goodness. You're going to see two great rivals going after it on Friday night. You know, South Range and Springfield has been a rival for years and years and years. You know, we both made deep runs into the playoffs last year and even the year before. And it's going to be a clash between two phenomenal programs. You know, Springfield has, you know, a great facility. Come out and watch, and it's fun. And you're going to see two teams get after it. These young men, I can speak for Springfield too, you know, are looking forward to this game and looking forward to week one, especially since we didn't get to have it last year. And I know that they're excited, and it's a place to be. You know, you can, you know, I know there's another big game on Thursday, which, you know, I might even sneak over to, but you know, Friday night, the place to be is Springfield, Ohio, to watch South Range take on those Tigers.
Coach, we don't want to keep you too long because we know you got practice to get to. We definitely.
Oh my goodness, practice is so awesome. Looking forward to it.
We definitely appreciate the time that you have given us, and I think I speak for everyone at YSN, especially DJ, when we say how excited we are to have another year to cover you guys and to cover you. You've been a blessing for YSN. You've been one of our biggest supporters for the last 4 years. So, had to get you on Running Point once, and you know DJ's going to be in touch with you for the rest of the season because he was kind of jealous that we had you on today. So,
well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting the Raiders. I really appreciate it. And my goodness, DJ's a great friend, and I love him to death. And you know, Anthony, you guys, all you guys, I just appreciate all you do for not just South Range, but all the sports and keeping it about the kids. I mean, that's so important. It's not about us as coaches. It's all about the kids, and that's why you keep it in that perspective, which makes it so special. And I just want to thank you guys for all you've done and supporting us. And go Raiders! My goodness, it's going to be an exciting game Friday night.
Oh, it's been one that people have been clamoring for the last 2 years, and we finally get it.
That's for sure.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much again for joining us, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, thank you, guys. Bye.
Best of luck Friday, Coach.
That was Dan Yeagley, head coach of the South Range football team, joining us before he heads to practice, which we can't talk enough about how we appreciate the time.
Anytime any of these football coaches are able to get in their hectic schedule of the season, I mean, just to get even 15, 20 minutes from a football coach throughout a football season is we really appreciate that, because we know how much 15, 20 minutes actually means to you in your time. So we appreciate him joining us as always.
And I can't confirm this because I'm not a YSN historian. I'm sure DJ would be able to confirm, but Coach Yeagley might be our first ever coaches corner on YSN. I mean, South Range was one of the 4 original teams that we started with. He might be the number 1 first coaches corner that we had on YSN. He is one of the reasons why we have been so successful. You know, all the 4 teams, South Range, Latonia, Crestview, and Salem, couldn't do it without them, without the people that believe in you first. And we couldn't talk football week 1 without having Dan Yeagley on the show for as much as he could give us.
He's a great ambassador for the company too, and that's why you can't thank Coach Yeagley enough. Is that not only does he love YSN and love what we do, but he represents us very well, and he also allows other people to know about YSN. So he spreads the word about us and allows us to get bigger and allows us to cover more teams for more communities and get more kids in the spotlight. So I mean, it all works its way back to the kids eventually, and that's what we look to do.
He's a lifer, that's for sure. He is a YSN lifer, and he'll be supporting YSN long after he decides it's time to hang up the hat. It won't be this year because he's coming back for another season. So, but long after he's decided to hang up the coaching hat, he'll still be a big YSN supporter, and we'll mirror that support for him because he's done a lot for us. Dan Reardon is coming up at 1:00. We're not done with our football coaches interviews. We'll be talking to the Ursuline football coach at 1. And Ty, just really quick before we have him on at 1, you talk about Ursuline. You said it. When you're preseason number 1, there's a lot of eyes on you. There's a lot of expectations. We're going to talk to Coach about how the team is handling all the outside pressure.
Well, not to mention, too, you open up the season on Thursday, too. You're opening it up with Bishop Hartley. So it's going to be a great matchup, too, for the Irish. And, I mean, to essentially open up the entire football season on a Thursday night, it's going to be great. That's only a couple of days away. So, Irish are looking to get into action. And, there's some sour taste left in their mouths after the way things ended last year. So, interesting to talk with Coach Reardon about that, because that's definitely going to be a topic of conversation, I think.
But before we get there, we have a lot of volleyball teams we have to preview today in Division 3, 12 of them to be exact. Let's start with the Division 3 1 seed last year in the tournament and the district champion as well, Crestview Rebels. What are the Rebels bringing back? What should we look forward to them seeing in 2021?
Yeah, they were 23-3 last year, 12-0 overall in their conference. And then just looking at their stats from last year and some players that they are going to be returning. I mean, you get one of your kills leaders back in Lucy Montgomery, 333 kills on a 39% kill percentage. You're returning her as a senior this year. That's going to be absolutely huge. Not to mention the amazing play of Grace Auer, the freshman last year, 255 kills on a 40% kill percentage as a freshman coming back for her sophomore year. She's another one of those great talents in the program that you expect to get better each and every year. You keep looking at it. Shelby Rambo, another one, 163 kills, 41.7 kill percentage, is bringing her back as a senior as well. Really the biggest on Molly Emch is the one that I think they lost the most of with 154 kills, 38.7% kill percentage. You lose her, she seniors out, but I mean, what you're returning, 3 solid weapons in the attacking offense of the Crestview Rebels right there. And you can expect 200 plus kills average for almost each one of these girls, I think, this year.
And don't worry, Crestview fans, you're not done with the Emch family, because there's an upcoming freshman in that family that's coming up into the Rebels program. And that Emch family has been a highlight of Crestview volleyball for years. Older sister Emily, went to YSU. Molly just graduated last year, and now they have a freshman coming up. So one that's happy news for Rebel fans. It's bad news for anyone that has to play them because you're still not done with that family. And Coach Auer, we had her on, one of the first coaches we had when we took over Running Point, on the phone. She called us from volleyball camp. It was awesome. Talking about people that take the time out of their busy schedule. I mean, when you call us from a camp that you're hosting, impressive. But she said, this hour has the chance to be better than the other two. And that's just got to be super exciting. Obviously, she's a freshman. She's got plenty of work to do, and she's got to make sure that the work ethic stays. But, when Coach Auer comes on and says there's a chance that she could be better, that opened my
Well, I mean, at 255 kills on a 40% kill percentage as a freshman, that's a pretty damn good number there, Anthony. And I mean, that you could get.
Oh yeah, he's an incoming freshman. You're talking about. Never mind. It just went right out. Welcome to Tuesday. But the other thing about Cressy that you got to talk about is Lucy Montgomery, someone that 2019 was straight setter, always set for the team. And then in 2020, they ran a 6-2 and put Lucy in as a hitter when she wasn't in the back row. And man, did Lucy Montgomery ever prove that she could hit a volleyball? Because, everyone, oh yeah, you're a setter. And she would tell people in practice, I can swing pretty well. And the coaches kind of scoffed at it. And then, they needed a hitter, and she proved herself in 2020. She hits down the line better than anybody in the area. You see a lot of outside hitters that fall in love with cross-court shots. Maybe they can go down the seam a little bit, but a lot of them try not to go down the line. It's the last thing they develop. It's not, and Lucy Montgomery I feel like her strength is down the line. She plays teams that just aren't ready to defend that. You don't see it a lot. And when she goes down the line, it's with authority. So she's a very impressive outside hitter.
Yeah, and I mean, getting that back for another year, 3.9 kills per set is an incredible number too. So I mean, you're averaging just under 4 kills per set. I mean, that's incredible in of itself as one player's doing that. But they have 3 players all coming back this year, and our Rambo and Montgomery, that you return all 3 of them, and these 3 all have a kill percentage of 39% or greater. I mean, the whole team had a kill percentage of just over 38. That's incredible. And I mean, not to mention too, Rambo, another stat to even put another feather in her cap at, honestly, 36 solo blocks, 34 assisted blocks, 70 total blocks last year as a junior, coming back the 5'10" senior this year. Rambo, looked for her to be a huge force too on defense, I think, right around the net.
That's another thing Coach Auer said. Hey, Shelby Rambo is getting better at blocking. And I was like, well, she was pretty good last year. So, man, if she can get into the 100 block range for this year.
And it's definitely possible. I mean, because you're gonna have to fill up that Emsch, because with Emsch not there, Emsch accounted for 66 blocks. So I think there's going to be a little more blocks and a little bit more responsibility that's going to be on Shelby Rambo's shoulders this year. So I think it's very possible you see a 100 block season out of her.
They got great defense. They have great 6'2" setter with 2 great setters. They have weapons from the outside and the middle. Cressy, got to be very fun to watch. And I know they opened the season against Lakeview. Let's talk about the rest of their schedule and what they have looking ahead of them in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that opening game, and what an opening game that is slated to be against Lakeview. But that's opening up the 21st. That's an 11 a.m. game. That's on Saturday. They go from there to the 24th, 7 p.m. game against Liberty. The 26th, home versus Champion. 28th, away versus East Liverpool. The 31st, away versus Brookfield. The 2nd, starting in September, they're home versus Newton Falls. The 4th, away versus Boardman. The 7th, away versus Campbell Memorial. The 9th, away versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 11th, home versus Salem. The 14th, home versus LeBray. The 16th, home versus Liberty. The 18th, away versus Cardinal Mooney. 21st, away versus Champion. 23rd, home versus Brookfield. 25th, home versus Alliance. 25th, home versus Heartland Christian. 28th, away versus Newton Falls. The 30th, home versus Campbell Memorial. And then starting in October, the 5th, they are home versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 6th, they are away versus LeBray, and the 12th, they are away versus Heartland Christian.
Man, what a schedule. And like we said, I mean, the opener is strong. You get Lakeview, but you also get Mooney in there, who they beat in the district championship last year. Your conference is tough. Newton Falls always gives them a problem with volleyball. Newton Falls is going to be another strong team this year. I think it's a very tough schedule for Division III, and it's going to prepare them to make another deep run in the Division III tournament.
I think so as well. And I mean, it's just the type of schedule. I mean, I think they're scheduling as tough as they basically can right now and trying to give themselves as much competition. But I think this is a team that's primed to make another deep run in the playoffs.
Coach Hauer talked about it. I mean, she wishes there was time to go in and try to go out of the area a little bit more. But the reality with volleyball, you don't have a lot of basketball teams do it during the Christmas break. You don't have a long break during the fall season. There's not a lot of time where you can go make a big trip and come back. So unfortunately, as much as Coach Hauer would want and wants to kind of go into the Massillon area and play some of those teams, the reality of volleyball right now is just it's too demanding of a schedule to have that. So that's one of the things we talked to her about, but still a very strong schedule. And they're coming off of back-to-back district championships, trying to three-peat. They have a big chance to do it.
Yeah, I think they have a huge chance to do it. And I just said, like I said, expect the same success from the Rebels this year. I think they're going to be just fine going into this season.
Yeah, they're getting a lot back. They're bringing in a good freshman group. It should be fun for Coach Hauer and her staff, which is a staff of generations, people that she either coached or people that coached her. So a great staff at Crestview that are all ingrained in the program. Plenty of college experience in that bench too. So they're going to have a lot of reasons to be optimistic in 2021.
I think so as well. So, I mean, yeah, it's exciting because you're just 4 days out from that big Lakeview matchup. And I think if there's anything that's must see volleyball, watch that day after too. We talk about those big matchups day after football. That's a huge one coming up Saturday morning.
It is a huge one. Absolutely. Saturday. I'll be there. I can confirm that I'll be at Crestview, and that game will be on ysnlive.com. And let's venture from Crestview and talk a little bit about some of their conference opponents that are in Division III. Let's talk about LeBray for a minute and what they're bringing back and what they should look forward to in 2021.
Yeah, no problem. So the LeBray Vikings, looking at them, they were 12-8 last year, 9-3 overall within their conference. Looking at what they are returning and the people that they lost, I think first and foremost, the person I'm looking at, the one that they lost was Rappart, Jenna Rappart. She losing her 155 kills, 28.4% kill percentage. Big hole already in the attacking department as far as that. I think losing that senior, but I mean they have some really good young players. Riley Mcnaugh at 84 kills last year. She came in as a freshman, had some valuable playing time. I think that's going to serve her well going into this season, as well as some other younger players. Ashley Monroe is another one that got a lot of decent playing time as a junior. Summer Pumphrey is another one that's going to be, I think, pretty effective this year. I think honestly what it is with LeBray, it's just getting these girls more varsity experience and just getting them more playing time at the varsity level to let them really improve their game and start taking those next levels, because they have a lot of good raw talent, I think, in LeBray. I mean, you look at a 12-8 record. They had that solid season. They had that winning season. I think they can do better, and I think they can make that next step of an improvement. And I think it's just going to come with the experience and the repetition of these girls in varsity games.
And you said LeBray might be one of those teams, and while we're talking about them next, might be one of those teams that's on the heels of Crestview all season, trying to break that barrier and obviously break up the dominance of the Rebels that has been lasted for so long. I think LeBray is one of the teams that absolutely has the opportunity to kind of put some pressure on Crestview at the top of that league.
I think so as well, and I mean they're going to be the team, I think, going into this season that's going to be challenging Crestview a little bit, and they're gonna put up a fight. It's just, I think, how much of a fight they put up is going to depend on how big of a step these girls take and how much varsity experience they need for them to start getting that serious improvement, because we know they're going to improve because they all have that raw talent. Watching LeBray from last year and watching clips from last year, it's just, can they can they make those steady improvements, and how much more varsity experience is going to help them? Because I think that's the biggest thing, is just getting them more varsity experience at this point.
And LeBray has got a really good defense. They like to dig. You look at their dig numbers; it's really good, really high. They frustrate a lot of teams because you can't. It's not easy to put balls down on them. But they just have to get more offensive efficiency a little bit. I would love to see that team hitting percentage rise up into the 230, 240 realm, which would be a great hitting percentage for a team. If they could do that and get some good offense to balance that really good defense they have, then LeBray will absolutely be in position to put pressure on Crestview.
Yeah, I think so as well too. And I mean, honestly, with what they have coming forward, I was going to highlight that too as the biggest thing. Is you got to get those percentages up too. Kill percentages too. A lot of them, decent amount of kills, but your kill percentages hovering right in that 21, 22%. Get that up even a few percentage points, and I think you're going to see the success for LeBray. That 12-win season might turn into a 15, 16-win season with that type of percentage shift, just a little bit type of percentage shift overall in the team. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just, like you said, getting that hitting percentage up and getting your kill percentages up a little bit, and just and working on efficiency a little bit in the offseason. And I guarantee you that's what LeBray was doing all offseason.
Let's continue in that conference as well. Let's talk a little bit about Champion and what the Golden Flashes are bringing back in 2021. I know they struggled a little bit last year with their volleyball program, but trying to bounce back. They have such a successful women's sports in the rest of the sports season. So trying to bring that back into the volleyball program a little bit.
Absolutely. But did you want to go over LeBray's schedule first?
Oh my gosh. Welcome to
No, you're good. But we'll go over LeBray's schedule.
Let's go LeBray's schedule.
We'll go LeBray and we'll go right into Champion. We'll quick go through it anyway.
You take over.
LeBray is opening up at home Tuesday, the 24th versus Garrettsville Garfield. They go into the 26th of August versus Newton Falls. That's a home game. The 30th is away versus Mineral Ridge. The 31st is away versus Campbell Memorial. The 2nd, starting in September, is away versus Brookfield. The 7th, away versus Liberty. The 9th, home versus Champion. The 11th, home versus Rootstown. The 11th also is versus Wyndham. I think they have a tournament going on that 11th, as a lot of teams do. The 14th, away versus Crestview. 15th, home versus Jackson Milton. The 16th, away versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 21st, away versus Newton Falls. 23rd, home versus Campbell Memorial. 27th, away versus Warren Harding. The 28th, home versus Brookfield. The 30th, home versus Liberty. The 4th of October, starting in October, home versus McDonald. The 5th, away versus Champion. 6th, home versus Crestview. 12th, home versus Niles. And 14th, away versus Middlefield Cardinal. And I mean, geez, oh man, loading it up too in October, not shying away of games before the tournament. I think that's the most October games I've seen from a team so far. 5 October games for LeBray.
And the games that I'm really interested in out of the league games, of course, Mineral Ridge and Jackson Milton, those are maybe the top 2 teams in that MVAC tier. So those are going to be big non-conference games for LeBray.
I think so too. And I mean, LeBray's schedule, it's not, again, not shying away from competition, I should say. And I like that tournament too, facing Rootstown and Wyndham, getting a little bit of different looks too. That you don't typically get if you're LeBray. So I really like this schedule right now. I really like opening it up too with Garrettsville Garfield on the 24th. I think that's going to be a good game for them to open up with. Overall, I like the schedule for LeBray, and I think it's definitely a good schedule to get them prepared come tournament time. A lot of competition, I think, throughout the schedule.
And, it's all going to come down to those games against Crestview and Newton Falls, probably, when it comes to how much they can compete in the league. They're going to have to, prove themselves and knock off some of those teams that were above them last year if they want to, call themselves, champions of the MVAC, which I'm sure LeBray would love.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it starts and ends with facing Crestview too. You're going to have to you're going to have to, I would think, at least split with Crestview. I don't think you can't fall 0-2 to Crestview in both games. You have that away game that comes first on the 14th versus Crestview. But big is that October 6th home game versus Crestview. That could be huge come the end of the season for LeBray, and it could mean MVAC is on the line.
Okay, now let's venture into Champion. I jumped the gun a little bit.
No, you're good. We'll go
now
right
let's
in.
venture into Champion and talk about them in 2021.
Yeah, venturing into the Flashes, they were a team too that they're looking to make that next step. I think this year they were 2-13 last year overall, and looking at some players that they are bringing back and some that they lost. I think first and foremost, one of the biggest things is this team overall last year, I think, had 2 seniors, I want to say, a bunch of sophomores, I think a couple juniors and a few freshmen too mixed in. So it's one of the younger teams overall in the area. But some of those younger stars, Avery Clay was one that started shining a little bit. She's coming back for her junior year. She'll probably, I think, make that next step. Callisto Ridgeway too is another one. As a freshman, had a solid season with them. Taylor Bellinger is one that's coming back for her senior year. Look for her to be one of those, I think, those leaders of the team, I think, going into this year. And I mean, the 2 seniors too, Kaylee Gania is one that they lost from last year. She's no longer there as one of the standouts that's gone. And then Stoops as well. Adriana Stoops is no longer there as well. So you lose those 2 seniors, but this was overall a very young team anyway last year. It's a team that's overall gained more experience than the experience that's been lost. And I think that's going to really help Champion this season in the volleyball program. Is just that extra year of experience. They were in that spot where they were that young team last year. Going into this year, I mean, everyone aging up to, you got a bunch more juniors now. So I think the program's looking up for Champion, and I think that experience that they have in the program is definitely going to help them going forward.
And look, you add the experience to the fact that Champion has a winning culture in the athletics department, whether it be boys or girls. But focusing on the girls' side, they have this winning culture. You know, their softball team has won 9 state championships, been to 9 state championships, won 6 of them. Their basketball team has won plenty of district championships. They have this standard of excellence, and despite their record last year in volleyball, that standard of excellence is still there for all those athletes. So you add the experience with the standard. I think Champion has a good chance to be the most improved team of 2021.
I think so as well too. And I mean, couple wins last year too for a very young team is not that bad. So, but I definitely expect that number to go up. I mean, what that number is going to be, I don't know, because I don't know how drastically the improvements are going to be. But I definitely think there's going to be an improvement too. And I think you're going to see more than 2 wins out of this Champion team. I could almost guarantee that.
They definitely went through growing pains. They definitely live in a very tough MVAC conference. But I think, like I said, the experience they get, they're bringing people back. They still have senior leadership, so they're not completely young. And but overall, still pretty young team with a lot of promise, a lot of upside. And I think Champion could boost maybe 9 or 10 more wins than last year, to be honest.
I mean, and you're looking at a team that's probably realistically about 2 years away from making a huge, huge run, because by that time you're looking at a team of probably about 8 or 9 seniors then.
Yeah, and it's timing pretty well. I mean, obviously we don't know what Crestview is always going to be good, but the special players that are making Crestview special right now will be gone by then. So
I mean, and I think Champion's looking at their window being this 2-year window right now where they might be able to get something done this year, and they could surprise a lot of people. But I think this year and next year is really the biggest window for Champion, because they have a lot of girls slated to be seniors in the next coming years.
It might be perfect timing for the Flashes. Let's talk about their schedule and what teams they have in front of them in this season.
They open up the season Monday at 7 p.m. against Niles. That is a home game. They go away the 24th of August versus Newton Falls. The 26th is away versus Crestview. 31st home versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 4th of September, starting in the September schedule, it's versus Southington Chalker. That's a home game. The 7th is home versus Brookfield. 8th versus Girard. That's away. 9th versus LeBray. That's away. 14th home versus Liberty. The 16th home versus Newton Falls. The 18th home versus Southington Chalker. 21st home versus Crestview. The 30th, away versus Brookfield. And then starting in October the 2nd, they're away versus Matthews, and home the 5th versus LeBray.
You know, one of the things that I look at that schedule, that Girard's in there. And Girard's in a test, and they're kind of in the same boat. They had a lot more success last year, but they're still a young team with experience. So Champion's going to have their hands full with that offensive Girard, but it might be a good measuring stick for the rest of their season. I know it's right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, right there at September 8th, it'll be good, I think, too. Not too much in the middle of the schedule, still early on enough to where you have a lot of it. It'll set the forecast, I think, for the rest of the season and what needs to be done as you go right into LeBray, Liberty, Newton Falls after that. But I mean, this is a pretty favorable schedule, I think, for Champion to really, like you said, garner those 8, 9, 10 wins that you expect them or you think that they have the possibility of getting this year. And I think the schedule that they have, you know, some games might need to go their way and some sets might need to go their way. Yeah, but I think that it's definitely within a realm of possibility depending on how big of a gap or how big of a jump these girls have taken from year 2 to 3.
So let's take a quick break. And on the other end, we'll get ready for Dan Reardon, the Ursuline football coach, on YSNLive.com. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers, and we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Tuesday edition, as it is Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. We are awaiting Dan Reardon, who should be joining us any minute now. And we already previewed 3 volleyball teams. We have more coming up later in the show. And Ty, when you talk Ursuline football, I mean, preseason number 1, they open the season Thursday against Bishop Hartley. Some fun things to talk about when Dan Reardon comes on.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think it'll be fun. And like we said, we talk about how that season ended. It ended with a sour taste in a lot of the players' mouths and everything. So I think it's going to be definitely a question of concern and definitely a topic of discussion, I should say, with Coach Reardon. And I mean, just a very optimistic season, obviously ranked number 1. So, I mean, it's going to be optimistic, and there's a lot of eyes on the Irish this year and a lot of expectations, I think, for the Irish to make a deep run. So, going to be fun to talk with Reardon and talk about the pressures and the eyes and the expectations that he and the Irish are facing this year as well.
Yeah, when you talk about Ursuline, we just talked about champions standard of excellence at that school, or standard of excellence for Ursuline football. Very high, very historic tradition, and that's not lost on a lot of people down there.
No, not at all. And I mean, that's exactly why it's been the holy war between Ursuline and Mooney as 2 programs that have notoriously been championship football programs and championship culture athletics for years. So this is one of those years where Mooney is building up, and we expect him to make another big jump. But it always seems like the years that Ursuline's really good, Mooney's building up, getting ready to be really good. And when Mooney's really good, Ursuline's building up. And it seems like that's the year. It seems like it's the Irish's year this year. And I think they're the team to look out for. And definitely going to have a tough schedule. The Irish do, but going to have to make a lot of noise, I think.
Yeah, and now that we have all that, we're going to be joined by Dan Reardon, who joins us on Running Point. Coach, thank you so much for the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about your schedule. Let's start with that. And you guys have one of the toughest schedules in the area. Talk about what's in front of you and what excites you so much about the teams you're going to be playing.
Yeah, well, in just a couple of days, we open up with Columbus Hartley. Hartley has won, I think, 4 state championships over the past 9 or 10 years. They were Division III regional runner-up last year. So they're a team that certainly knows how to win and expects to win. So, right out of the gate, we're going to find out where we are. And, they have high expectations this year, just like we do. Then we go to Hickory. After Hickory, we play Chardon. Chardon's defending Division III state champions. We have Fitch, Boardman, Harding, Mooney, East Cheney, St. V's. So, a lot of good football. A lot of great teams on our schedule, to say the least.
Talk to me a little bit, Coach, about last year. Reflect on the season and how successful you were, but reflect a little bit on how it ended and what you're looking to do going into this season.
It was disappointing last year. We had a handful of really good players who were contact traced with COVID. None of them had COVID, but they were near somebody who did test positive.
Apologies, we lost audio on Coach there, so don't know what happened. We can't hear you, Coach.
We're gonna have to try to get him back on. That's the deal you play with, man. When you deal with technology, man, that's the game you play with. And of course, too, there's something that doesn't want this to be said. Maybe someone's listening in and doesn't want Dan Reardon to spill the beans on the disappointment from last year. Hopefully we could get him back on, though, because there's definitely a lot more we want to talk with about the Ursuline football program too, because you and I both, and all of us at YSN, so excited for this season for the Irish. Billy Mack, I think another one of those guys that are really hot on the Irish too. You see him on Power Hour. Steve, I think we got everything back.
I think we got him back, Coach.
I think we got him back. I think we left off too. You were talking about
I'm not sure what happened there.
Yep, we left off right where last we heard you. We were talking about how the players had been contact traced, and that prevented a few players from last year from missing the game.
Yeah, it was just a really frustrating thing, and it was hard to handle. But at the same time, it also served as motivation throughout the off season. And I think our guys have a chip on their shoulder, and are playing with the attitude of we have unfinished business.
That's got to be really good for you guys to have that chip on your shoulder when everyone is kind of.
And now there he goes. So now while Anthony's going through it, Anthony, did you get your question off? You want to ask it again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. So what I was saying was, all that being said, that chip on your shoulder from what happened last year has to be good with all the expectations that have been put on you from the outside this year. There's no sense of complacency, I imagine, with your program because of how last year ended and how hungry you guys are to kind of rebound from that.
No, there definitely is not a sense of complacency. We did some good things last year, but we ultimately fell short of our ultimate goal. And, so with that in mind, there definitely is not, and there's no complacency in the program at all.
Talking about that too, and I mean, looking for those things to improve. What specific aspects of the team did you look to improve going into this off season, coming into this season?
So, that's a good question. We always just try to get stronger, bigger, stronger, and faster in the off season, and really attack the weight room. And I think we had a phenomenal work ethic this past year. Our kids bought in. Our kids were very, very consistent with their attendance and effort. And as a result, we are a much stronger football team than we were a year ago.
Talk about the standard of excellence at Ursuline football and the historic program that it is. And put into words what that means to a program and the kids when they can go into the gym and they see all these state championship banners up and they realize that there's that standard of excellence on them just because of the name they wear on the front of the jersey.
Yeah, I think that our kids understand the responsibility that comes along with it. We bring in former players all the time to speak to the kids, and most of my staff are guys who played football and many of whom were captains for Ursuline over the years. And, I think that their testament, to the program and the guys on the staff showing the kids what, the expectations are and the former players coming back and talking about it and all those different things. I think our kids understand the history and the tradition, and they take that responsibility seriously.
Speaking on the kids playing for the program, there's one name that pops up a lot on the network for baseball, football, basketball, and that's Brady Shannon. Talk to me a little bit about the success you saw from Shannon last year and what to expect from the quarterback this year.
Yeah, he had a great season last year, and We had a really good receiving core, and we feel like this year's group of receivers are going to be dynamic as well. And with that, Brady has just he's such a talented athlete, regardless of the sport you're talking about. I see these highlights of these home runs he hits on his traveling team, and looks like Mark McGuire or Jose Canseco or something hitting them. I mean, he just crushes the ball, and then as a quarterback, he's very, very efficient. His timing and accuracy has really taken a big step, and I think he's poised to have a phenomenal senior year.
You brought up your staff earlier. Shine a light on your assistant coaches and the staff for this program, and the people that really help you guys be as good as you are.
Yeah. So on the offensive side of the ball, John Desantis is our offensive coordinator. He's also our athletic director. He's a guy who played for me the first time around when I was hired at Erickson. He was a senior my very first year. He's been, on staff in a number of roles really since the day he graduated from high school. Michael Frasco and Brian Frasco coach the O-line. Clinton Lynch is our running backs coach. He was a phenomenal player, played at the University of Illinois way back when. And Sam Gianfrancesco coaches the receivers. On the defensive side, Keelan Logan coaches the D-line. He's an Erickson grad, was a phenomenal player. Tim McGlynn coaches the linebackers. Andrew Frasco and Matt Guarneri, both are Erickson grads. They are co-defense coordinators. And then Matt Green coaches the secondary.
Talk to me too a little bit, Coach. A little bit about the younger players on the team. We talk about the seniors and how much senior leadership is big, but also those younger players that step up are a huge part of successful teams. So talk to me about a few younger players that we might not be saying their name right now, but you expect us by the end of the season, we're going to be saying their name a lot.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple that stand out. One is Tyrique Dunlow, who played a little bit down the stretch for us in the playoffs last year as a freshman, and really had a phenomenal offseason, got bigger and stronger, and he's going to start at defensive end for us. I think he's going to have a really good year. Jack Erickson is a sophomore quarterback, defensive back, who, you'll hear his name a lot, particularly at free safety this year. Xavier Dawn is another one who, a young tight end, defensive end. Lorenzo Rohrbaugh is a linebacker, tight end. Those are probably the key guys out of the younger guys.
Also, I mean, looking at the team overall too, I mean, I think you guys got a really good balance of seniority with younger guys, and I think that's what is part of why the program is so successful. Talk to me a little bit about what the coaching motto is this year. I know you said a little bit about just you want to finish the job and take last year as that motivation tool. What's the coaching motto this year, and what are some games I guess you're looking forward to personally?
So I'm not a huge motto guy, to be honest with you, and the one thing that we talk to our kids about every day is just everything you do it at a championship standard. And it isn't something that we put on a t-shirt or anything, but we talk about it all the time, just at championship level. Whatever we're doing, lifting, practicing, running, whatever it is, just do it at a championship level. And that's obviously our goal. So that's what, we're trying to base everything upon.
Your summer has been accelerated this year because of the season starting a week before, a week earlier than normal. Talk about what it's been like going through that and maybe a faster evaluation period and what you've already learned from your team before you guys have laced up for week one.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Everything's happened a little bit more quickly. We tried not to change June and July all that much from the standpoint of how many days that we were bringing the kids in. We still brought them in the same amount of days. A couple of the days shifted from weightlifting days to camp days, but we didn't want to burn them out. And ask me at the end of the season, and I'll have a better answer as to if we handled it the right way or not. But it definitely was different. But I think our kids handled it. From the coaching side of things, it forces you to really be efficient and forces you to really plan all the situations that you want to hit. And, that's something that I think our staff did a pretty good job of.
Coach, unless I stand corrected, I believe you open up the season this Thursday against Bishop Hartley. Preview that game a little bit and tell us why Youngstown State is going to be the place to be on Thursday night to watch some Ursuline football.
Yeah, I think it's a great opener. Two high-quality programs. Both have high expectations this year. Hartley is a team that they're a big physical football team. They've had a ton of success over the past decade, and we have our work cut out for us, but we're excited for it, and hope to see a lot of people out there.
Ursuline's community is pretty unique because unlike you have alums that go off and have very successful careers, and no matter what sport they're playing in, and you probably have alums from all over the country interested in what you're doing as a football program. What's it like having a community like that that's so widespread, and you get to feel their support not just locally, but you also feel it almost from around the country if they graduated from Ursuline?
Yeah, we have a lot of support, and it's one of the things that makes Ursuline a special place. It's a true family atmosphere, and I think if you talk to people who played 15, 20 years ago, they would tell you the same thing. And, it doesn't matter when you play, it's just, there's a certain camaraderie that comes along with it. And, the Irish fans have always supported. And, again, it's one of the things that make it special.
Before we let you go, Coach, you've had so many players go through your program in your career. What's the one thing that you hope that your players take away when they graduate from Ursuline and they've been under you for 4 years?
That's a good question. So, I think that they just know that I was just pushing them to be their very best and trying to hold them accountable, and hopefully the goal was to take them further than they realized they had the ability to go.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your time. I know you obviously have to be pretty busy 2 days away from game day. We appreciate the time, and we look forward to covering you guys and talking to you again real soon.
All right, thanks. Take care, guys.
That was Dan Reardon, head coach of the Ursuline Irish. They're gearing up for a heck of a week 1 matchup with Bishop Hartley on Thursday night. One of 3 games on the network, I believe, with Canfield also playing Poland and Crestview playing Salem, all on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I mean, we already previewed too both the Irish too, and a few of those other teams that you talked about.
All of
them. We've done all of them too, and we're working on getting those to you in a more condensed way to where you guys can view them singularly.
We can now say that we will be releasing those previews individually on ysnlive.com as content. Between now and Friday, your team will pop up on the website, so stay tuned to ysnlive.com. If you missed any of our football previews, we're going to have them up team by team and make sure that you are ready for your team season before Friday. We'll also be able to have volleyball when we're done with that. We'll do the same thing. We'll cut them and for your convenience, put them up on the website team by team.
And the same thing too. I mean, with our interview right there with Dan Reardon, most of the time, and almost all the time now, actually, our interviews go right to YSN Live, so you can catch them all too in a more condensed version. So, I mean, Ursuline Irish can have our preview of them and our talk with Coach Reardon before game 1 on Thursday. And I mean, you have both the content, all the preview you need on the Irish before their week 1 matchup.
One of our mottos, you ask all the coaches about mottos, one of the mottos here at YSN, and you know it, and everyone that works for us know it. Content is king, and we're about to have a lot of it pop up on the website in the next couple months for football. Actually, for the next forever.
as we love seeing it though too. We love having more content too and more easily accessible videos for you guys and your communities to watch too and click on and see whenever you desire.
Taking over the world, one interview, one content at a time.
That's what we got to do, brother.
Let's dive back into volleyball previews and stay into the Division III teams that are in that MVAC gray tier, because we were talking about Crestview and LaBray and Champion. Let's talk about Garrettsville Garfield, a new team in the fray. And I'm kind of interested for this one because honestly, Ty, didn't get a chance to see their volleyball team last year. What are they returning? What are they looking forward to in 2021?
So is it the Garfield G men or G women?
I think they call themselves the Lady G men.
The Lady G-Men. Okay. I just wanted to. Okay. But for the Lady G-Men, 9-9 last year overall, 6-4 within the conference. They were a team that, right around the middle of that pack. But they were a team that honestly, they weren't a bad team. And I expect them to make that improvement and, right around the middle of the pack. But I think they have the players to make a big jump. They did lose a little bit. Ashley Carey was a senior that, and Elizabeth Cox were a couple of that seniors, and Paige Merrick too, another one that's lost. They have a few younger players though that I think are going to make some noise too. Lily Johns is another big one, one of the captains last year that is no longer there. So this was a senior heavy team, but Madeline Shirkey is one that's coming back. She's coming back for her junior year, one of the captains last year, I believe, for the team as well. So getting her back and as that experience and what she was able to do for the team was incredible too. She's returning too, as well as Jenna Smith. She's coming back for her senior year, so you're returning her as well. Jordan Permy is another one. Gabby Bernard coming back for her junior year. Kendall Hahn is another one. Kendall Hahn, coming back for her junior year as well. So, I mean, this was a team that was about 50-50 seniors and other players. But you know what? A lot of these younger players were making a lot of noise for Garfield last year and for Garrettsville. I mean, and so I think this team this year is going to make that improvement. I think these younger players are going to make that next step. And it's just, I'm curious to see what the next crop of freshmen are and what they look like and what the freshmen that didn't get much playing time last year are looking like this year, as they are expected to probably get more playing time as sophomores.
One thing you know about Garfield, no matter the sport, they're going to have straight up athletes playing for them. I mean, I did get a chance to see their basketball and softball teams last year on the girls' side of the sports, and they have just phenomenal athletes. So despite the results from last year for Garfield, you want to bet that they're going to have athletic ability driven girls on that team. They're not going to have people that are lazy. They're not going to have people that are half efforting it. They're going to be fine as far as athleticism and effort. They just have to get the results down.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I mean, 9-9, not a bad year, but I mean, by their standards, I think they were they expect more out of the team, and I think they can achieve more. So, it's honestly it's a team that I'm expecting to make a big step going forward.
They go into a tougher conference. Let's look at what their schedule looks like this year and what the Lady G-Men have in front of them in the 2021.
They open up the season the 24th of August against LaBray. That's away against LaBray. They're home the 26th versus Campbell Memorial. The 28th, they are home versus Rootstown. The 31st, they're away versus Champion. Starting in September the 2nd, they're home versus Liberty. The 7th, they're away versus Newton Falls. The 9th, they're home versus Crestview. 16th, home versus LaBray. The 27th, home versus Lake Center Christian of Hartville. The 30th, they're home versus Newton Falls. Starting in October, they're home the 2nd versus Woodridge. The 5th, they're away versus Crestview. And the 14th, they're away versus Crestwood. So from Crestview to Crestwood, Columbiana to Manaway, a couple of away games to end the season.
Yeah, don't get those two teams confused. I made that mistake once, and it was like, hey, they're playing Crestview tonight. No, they're playing Crestwood. What? Red Devils, not the Rebels. Two way different programs, way different teams too. Talk a little bit about that non-conference schedule. I mean, I think for this team, we have to talk about the conference schedule first because it's almost for their sake, it's almost an independent schedule. They're not familiar with any of these teams. They haven't played them before as a conference opponent. I think it's going to be a whole new world for Garfield minus the magic carpet ride.
And you know what? Being 9-9 last year too, it's gonna be definitely a good season, I think, for them too. And it's exciting because you do get a different matchup basically every single week, one that we haven't seen in the area, a volleyball matchup that we haven't seen in the area. And I mean, I guess if you want to give me 3 wishes, I guess that'd be one of the wishes is to see all these new matchups in sports. And we got one with the Garfield matchup.
You gotta rub that genie's lamp first. Yeah, one of the things that excites me the most, and I know this is like, oh man, this was excites you, Anthony. You're so lame. Garfield's floor in their gym is awesome. It's gray and black. Can't wait to do a game down there and see the gym and see the floor on ysnlive.com for volleyball and basketball. Gonna be so fun. It's one of the best floors in the area. And I'm excited to see it in person.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in person personally. I've only seen it on a couple of videos, but it does look really cool, and I like it because it's unique, it's creative, and it's different from everyone else.
It's gonna make great video content for like game preview videos before the games and stuff. Gonna have a lot of fun with that gym, I think, and I can't wait to get down there and see Garfield and cover them for the first time this year. And have them be a part of that conference. It's going to be real fun to see what kind of splash they can make in the MVAC volleyball, because we talked to Coach Hauer and she said, I haven't gotten there yet. She didn't know too much about Garfield yet. So, that was a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure maybe by now she has a couple of nuggets on Garfield, but it's a lot of unknowns when you talk about how Garfield is going to compete in that league.
You're in a completely different conference. You're facing all new opponents, and they were 9-9 last year. So the pendulum's like this, and it can go either way for Garfield this year, and that's what's exciting about them. We don't know what to expect game to game, and I think that makes every matchup especially unique for this schedule. So I think it's going to be a fun season, and I think if you're new to volleyball too, this is going to be one of the teams I'd watch too, because it's a team that can swing either way, but you're going to see a new matchup essentially every week. So these teams don't really have a book on each other, and they haven't played each other before. So it's going to be fun matchups, I think, every time Garfield matches up with the teams.
You know what I think is really going to be fun? The second matchup with all those teams, because a lot of your conference, you're familiar with the coaches. Coaches are familiar with each other. They know what kind of adjustments they like to make, and they can counter them for that second match. So there's none of that either. So Coach Hauer, not really familiar with the Garfield's coach, and neither are the other coaches in the conference. They might struggle a little bit with understanding what they're going to do in that second matchup to kind of adjust from the first one. So I'm really looking forward to not just the first matchup in the conference, but a lot of intrigue even in the second one, even though obviously there's going to be more familiarity. We already played them once. A little unfamiliarity with how the coach is going to deal with the adjustments going to be made.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that makes the second time around even more dangerous when you go and face Garfield. And, the interesting part, we look at Crestview as being one of those top teams. The 9th, that's a home game. So they play home versus Crestview, but that second time it's away versus Crestview, the 5th of October. And that's the second to last matchup, and it's an away game versus Crestview, and I think that's going to be a huge game for Garfield.
If I was Garfield, honestly, I know I would rather play them away first and then have them home second.
Yeah, you would definitely want them home second. That away game, though, is what makes it intriguing, because you think Garfield having the adjustments, you don't know how they're going to adjust for Crestview, but that's home for Crestview, and Crestview having that game at home is already hard enough to win in.
That's going to be a fun one. Let's continue in the Division 3 teams in that tier and move on to the Leopards of Liberty and see what they have looking ahead of them in 2021 for volleyball.
They were a team that I mean, I consider them pretty successful. 11-8 last season, 7-6 within the conference, and overall, I think they were a team that you're going to see pretty much a lot of the same success. They didn't have actually that big of a roster, which was actually interesting. I think about a 10-person roster last year. A few of them did senior out too. Emily Benson, one of them. Mia Cole, another one. Kristen Fine. One of the captains there. That was one of the bigger lots. Ada Rhodes is another one. And then Allison Jones too, another one of the seniors. Some of the ones they're bringing back: Brianna Renzis, also Mia Parker too. Yeah, Alexa Muck is another one. There's Gabby Ranalli too is another one coming back for her senior year. So not a whole lot of seniors on this team, but I mean, there's going to be a few. I think there's going to be a few of those seniors that are going to need to step up for leadership. But I think they're bringing in a lot of young players, and from what I understand and what I think I'm hearing too, or what I've seen or what I've heard, is that there's a lot of players coming up that are freshmen this year. They have a lot of freshmen and sophomores coming on into the team this year. And I think the roster size is expected to be around the same, but I think they're going to definitely be replacing the seniors that they had with more freshmen and sophomores. So just infusing the team with more of a youth movement and just trying to get younger, I think, and just try to, start building this team up too. After a very successful 11-8 season, you want to try to continue that success and start building the program for years to come.
One of those sophomores I'm really excited about is Mia Parker. She's a straight up athlete. She moves really well on the court. She's going to be able to get to a lot of balls, get on the ground and dig a lot of balls there. And I think she's got plenty of power on the hitting. I mean, she'll be I bet an outside hitter for them. I don't know what they're going to do with her this year, but I've seen her on the basketball court as well. A very good athlete, very excited to see what she brings to the volleyball court, and maybe one of the names to watch on Liberty's team this year.
Yeah. And like I said, too, the couple seniors, and excuse me, too, because I got this mixed up. Allison Jones being on the team this year as one of the captains, as well as Kristen Fine. So you have those two senior captains.
Fine's a big captain. So
yeah, and then Emily Benson as well. So we got those ones a little bit mixed up. I wanted to make sure we got those corrected, as these are the three big players too for them too. Because I was looking at their stats and everything from last year to this year, and I got the pages mixed up, and I thought the seniors from last year were seniors from this year, but we got them up, and yeah. So I mean, that makes this team a lot more dangerous then, knowing that you got Kristen Fine, you got Emily Benson, you got Mia Cole. Oh my goodness. And then, I mean, you got Allison Jones too. So, I mean, you got the infusion of the youth, and I already heard that they got a good 8th grade program there. They were going to bring in more freshmen, and these are the freshmen then that what I'm seeing in the freshmen and sophomores. So, I mean, this is a good team then, bringing back a lot of what they had last year at 11-8. Liberty is going to be pretty solid this year then.
And I can't say enough good things about Emily Benson. Got to coach her in the All-Star game for softball. Just a great kid. I got to get to know her a little bit in the dugout. Great leader, great head on her shoulders. She got made a couple of really good catches out in the outfield for us, and won, I believe, defensive player of the game for that All-Star game. So can't say enough about the character and the leadership that Emily Benson is going to bring this year as a senior.
Yeah, I think she's going to be huge too. And I mean, a part of a lot of seniors, about 50-50 with seniors and the youth. So then what I'm saying too is you have I think a pretty strong junior varsity squad then too. And I think that's what the infusion of youth is going to be for next year, because they're going to lose about 5 or 6 seniors, I think, this year. But I think this Liberty program is going to be strong for years to come.
Let's talk about their schedule and what they have in front of them in 2021.
Opening up the season, they are Saturday away versus Warren Harding. The 24th, they're home versus Crestview. The 26th, home versus Brookfield. The 31st, away versus Newton Falls. Starting in September, the 2nd, they're away versus Garrettsville Garfield. The 7th, they're home versus LeBray. The 9th, home versus Campbell Memorial. 13th, home versus Youngstown East. 14th, away versus Champion. 16th, away versus Crestview. The 20th, home versus Western Reserve. 21st, away versus Brookfield. The 23rd, home versus Newton Falls. The 25th, home versus McDonald. And the 30th, away versus LeBray. No October games slated right now. I don't know if they're planning on scheduling anything in October, but as of right now, the season is slated to end the 30th away versus LeBray.
Yeah, when the tournament starts, I think October 16th is the start of sectionals. That's a big gap. I'm sure they're going to work on trying to find some games in there to slate. But like you said, as of now, nothing scheduled for October. Liberty wants to change that because you don't want to be sitting on your hands for 16 days leading into the tournament.
I was going to think, too, it might have been that the MVAC would host like a championship game or something like we've seen other conferences do, but no, because other MVAC teams are playing late into October. So I think it's just Liberty needing to find opponents for October.
That's weird that their MVAC schedule is wrapped up by the end of September, and we've seen other MVAC teams playing each other in October.
I mean, they might have their full list of games too, because they do play pretty much every other day in September. So their September schedule is a lot heavier than that I've seen. So you're looking September 2nd, the 7th, the 9th, 13th, 14th, 16th, 20th, 21st, 23rd, 25th, 30th. There's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 games that they're playing in September.
You're not going to get a lot of practice time. We've talked to a lot of volleyball coaches about the fact that they don't get in the gym a lot during volleyball season. Liberty's going to be that month of September. And you might get 5 practices total, 11 games. I mean,
yeah, volleyball it's a tornado of a sport, man. It's real quick, and it's a month. It's a month really of just congregated, and it's that September month. You get a few games at the beginning of August. You get a few at the end of October before the tournament starts, obviously. But September is really that huge month for volleyball, where all the regular season's going on, and all these teams are playing pretty much every other day.
September is a monster for volleyball, and I'm going to be running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get to all these games in September. The games that kind of stick out to me in that Liberty schedule, I like the non-conference matchups with Western Reserve and McDonald. To be honest, I like seeing them go to the other tier and not playing the other tier teams that are like bottom of the barrel. They're playing teams that we expect are going to be top tier teams in that tier. Not to be redundant, but so those are really good non-conference schedules. And I'm looking forward to their league matchup against LeBray. I think LeBray will be a very equal team to Liberty. It should be a very fun, competitive match. I expect those games to go 5 sets. Might be the marquee game of the season for both those teams to square up with each other.
Especially ending the season at LeBray. It might be a big-time game for Liberty going into the season as well. But I think honestly that the Leopards going into this season, I think they were going to expect the same success. So like I said, 11-8 last year. I expect the same success for Liberty right now. I know they've scrimmaged twice against Heartland Christian and Grand Valley. 2-0 versus Heartland Christian, 3-0 versus Liberty in sets.
That's impressive. That's impressive because Heartland is pretty good.
Yeah, so 2-0 versus Heartland Christian in sets. So they won 2-0 to sets and 3-0 in sets to Grand Valley. So I mean, they played pretty good in preseason. Haven't lost a set in scrimmages. So in five sets. So.
Watch out for Liberty, that's for sure. Let's just stay and finish out that tier of the MVAC in Division 3. There are a couple of teams that are Division 4 that we'll go into tomorrow. But Camel is Division 3, and they're in that tier. So let's talk about the Red Devils and some of the things that they're bringing into 2021.
Yeah, Campbell, one of those teams, again, trying to build up their program, and I think they have room for improvement this year, and I think that's kind of the motto is just trying to improve the program. 1-20 last year. So they're definitely a team that I think is looking to make those improvements. Some of the players that they're returning, they had a lot of freshmen last year, and that was, I think, the biggest thing. But I mean, what they lost, Amari Rhodes is one of the seniors, no longer there. She was one of the few seniors that was actually on the team. It was a team that was loaded with, I think, a lot of freshmen last year. One of those coming back, Angelise Diaz, is coming back for her sophomore year, so she's coming back. Carla Ramirez, again, coming back for her sophomore year as well. Kendall Brun coming back for her sophomore year. Kyra Cross coming back for her sophomore year as well. And then you also have one of the seniors, Courtney King, going to be one of the seniors on the team this year. She's going to be, I think, big. And Adriana Candela, too, is another one of the seniors. So you got a couple seniors higher up, and you have a lot of freshmen taking that big gap. And we said that big jump one of the biggest jumps we see is from freshman to sophomore year. So you're seeing a bunch of players taking that big freshman to sophomore jump, and you're going to see huge improvements, I think, especially from offseason and having a full season of varsity experience under the belt, all of which, like I said, too, all those freshmen, Bun, Cross, Ramirez, and Diaz, all of them had significant varsity experience starting on varsity. So, I mean, that's huge as a freshman. And like we said, it was a team 1-20, yeah, but you got to read between the lines a little bit and see how young this team was and how much experience that's going to help for them and how much going into the offseason, what they worked on. Most of them probably played AAU. That probably helps out as well. And just offseason training in general. And that's why that freshman to sophomore jump is so big and where you see such significant improvement. And I think you're going to see a huge improvement in Campbell's team this year.
This team was so young last year. It was pretty much a JV team on varsity. That's what they was forced to do with the numbers they had and the youth they had. And that sounds like a negative thing to say, oh, this varsity team looked like a JV. But when you think about it, what do JVs do? They develop, and JV players turn into really good varsity players. They just needed that year. They just needed that year to get varsity speed under their belt, get used to the speed of varsity's game. That was the biggest thing that hurt them last year. They just weren't prepared for the speed that other varsity teams were playing at. Their blockers couldn't move in time to get over to a slide. Things like that they have to just learn and kind of adapt to. They got a lot of people coming back, a lot of people that learned, and it wasn't a talent thing. When I watched Campbell, it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just learning the speed and the fundamentals of volleyball. And last year's going to pay dividends for them going forward.
And you know what, like players to highlight, like Kendall Brun coming into her sophomore year, like last year having 75 plus kills on a percentage that's over 20.5%. That's pretty good for a freshman, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Coming in from 8th grade year to her freshman season, playing all varsity, starting on varsity, playing varsity teams in a very tough conference. That's not a bad season to have too. And there's a bunch of players like that, like Ramirez and Diaz, that had seasons similar to that. And that's, I think, the exciting thing for Campbell is that they had a lot of these players that have that experience. We talk about football and the quarterbacks getting the experience as sophomores, how much that helps junior and senior year. How much is this going to help them their junior and senior year playing as freshmen at a varsity level?
And you know what? Like I said, there's also adaptations of speed on the offensive side. You have to get used to the speed of blockers on the varsity level. You have to get used to the speed of the back row. You have to get used to the fact that just a one shot won't do it. You can't just go cross all the time. A lot of things to get used to, a lot of things to develop. And that's what last year was. It was meant to develop them and expose them to the varsity game. A lot of young kids that got that year under their belt, and I expect them to be improved this year. I think they should be improved. They have plenty of room for improvement, as you said, to start, and there's no reason to think why they won't be.
I don't think I think it's hard pressed to believe that they won't be improved, because I think they're made to be improved right now because of the freshmen getting all that experience and coming back as sophomores. I think the experience is going to help this team so much this season. I think it's almost going to be impossible for them not to be better from last year. I don't know how much better they're going to be, obviously, but they're definitely, I can almost guarantee they're going to be better from last year.
We talked about it with some other teams that are young and in the same boat. It's less of a win-loss record winning their results, and I think they'll judge this season based on how much better their players get between game 1 and game 20.
Yeah, and I mean, volleyball's one of those sports too. You don't see a whole lot of freshmen coming in and getting significant starting varsity experience. You start getting that more once you're a sophomore, at least, and then mostly junior and senior year, because of just how fast, like you said, the game speeds up a lot from 8th grade year to a varsity level. So, I mean, you see those freshmen play a JV season for a year or two before they get on the varsity team. So just significant that these 4 girls had significant varsity playing time last year, and I think it's going to help tremendously this season.
The jump to JV to varsity is big in every sport, but I would argue in volleyball it's the biggest jump because of the speed difference between a quality varsity team and a JV team. So I think it's the hardest to kind of jump from JV to varsity and get used to in volleyball. You could argue that. I would happy to have that conversation because I know it's hard in every sport, but I just think the biggest jump between JV and varsity, in my humble opinion, is in volleyball.
Yeah, and I mean it very well may be too, and we know there's various sports too where it's hard to make that jump, but I know for sure it's like going from that 8th grade year to that freshman season at a high school level, that speed changes drastically.
From eighth grade to high school is a big jump, and then JV to varsity is an even bigger jump because you don't see a lot of JV teams that are running plays. They're just focusing on getting the pass to their setter and getting a good set off. But then you go to varsity and it's like, hey, they're going to run their middle on a backslide, or they're going to go and have a back set to the opposite. Things like that you really got to think about. You just don't see on JV too often.
You're starting to be taught volleyball IQ, and I think that's the biggest thing is that these young players are going to have a volleyball IQ that's going to be a few points higher from last year to this year, and I think you're going to see that as the biggest change on the court. Players are going to know where they need to be set up, and where they need to pass to, and you know, I think that's where you're going to see the biggest drastic improvement. And
let's break down their schedule, what they have in front of them.
They open up the season Saturday, the 21st of August. That's a home game versus Lowville. The 26th, they're away versus Garrettsville Garfield. 31st, home versus LaBrace. Starting in September the 7th, they're home versus Crestview. 8th, away versus Youngstown East. 9th, away versus Liberty. 13th, home versus Valley Christian. The 14th, home versus Newton Falls. The 15th, home versus Youngstown East. 23rd, away versus LaBrae. 25th, away versus Brookfield. The 30th, away versus Crestview. And then October 12th, away versus Newton Falls. A big jump from Crestview to Newton Falls. It looks like 12 days.
Don't want to interrupt you, Ty, but we do have a caller on the line, so we're going to answer this phone real quick.
Alrighty.
Well, I guess I missed him.
Unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. If you did call, I am so sorry that I didn't get to that button in time. But yeah, I got flashing lights on the ground because we took down the G Burbick sign and we have the lights that were behind it on the ground personally. So it's hard to differentiate between this flashing light that's in my peripheral and the normal flashing lights that are on the ground. I did not catch it in time. I apologize. If you still want to call in, you absolutely can. 330-886-0813. I promise that I'll be more vigilant and answer that phone a little bit quicker. So go back into Camel's schedule while we await to see if someone will call us back.
Yeah, and like I said, they end the season away with Newton Falls on October 12th, and that's just a huge gap between their last two games. They're away versus Crestview September 30th before being away versus Newton Falls October 12th, and that's just right before tournament time. I understand scheduling Newton Falls, but that's still just a really big gap between Crestview and Newton Falls. But I mean, I guess it's a game to get them ready too. So it might actually be a smart schedule. Get the team healthy from the 30th to the 12th. And maybe there's any injuries or anything. You obviously hope not, but there could be too. And there could be someone that needs that time and that rest time before. And then you get that game right before tournament time to get you ready for the tournament. It might be a very good schedule actually.
Yeah, you definitely don't. You would like that more than the big gap where you're just playing your tournament game after your last game on the 30th. They might fill those dates up and try to get some more games in there. I believe volleyball is allotted 22 games total by the OHSAA as a limit. I believe. I could be wrong.
So looking at this, then let me see what they're at. Then I think what I saw they were only at I think 13. Last I checked, see 12, 6. Yeah, 13 games is what they're at right now. So you might see some scheduling in there too, and they might even just participate in a tournament too, because I see they're not playing anything on that 11th too, and I know there's a lot of tournaments going on, or a lot of try matches going on. They might be able to jump into a try match too, or schedule something like that and get a few more matchups there too. September schedule though. It looks like pretty much it's fairly busy for them. It's about 3 every 10 days, so they could fit maybe a couple more in there if they want to. I don't know if there's a minimum though of games that they need to have scheduled.
I think I don't know if there's a total minimum, but obviously you have to play your league twice. So
yeah, and I mean obviously I think they definitely do that here. Yeah, so I mean it'll be interesting I think for for them this year. And I think you're going to see a big improvement with some of these matchups. And I think that East matchup's going to be a fun one for them, getting to play them twice away and home. I think that'll be huge for them. And I think those are going to be both competitive games too for both East and Campbell.
That does it for the Division III teams that reside in the MVAC grade tier, but we have plenty of teams left in Division III to preview. We'll continue that after this break on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hi, everyone. This is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Every customer has a story, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State 40 Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We continue this Tuesday edition. Ty Bartel joining me as he does every day. Want to remind everyone, comment section is live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Leave a comment and let us know what you think about the things that we're saying, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll put it up live. Also, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning fan line is available, 330-886-0813, the number to call. I promise to answer. I swear I'll answer. I missed the last call. I feel bad about it. If you did call and you want to call back, we're not mean. We're not going to bite. We'll answer the phone. I promise. But let's continue our volleyball previews. We have finished up the Division III teams that reside in the MVAC, but we still have plenty of teams to go. Let's venture into the handful of teams in the EOAC that reside in Division III. You know what? I take that back. We did not complete the MVAC because we have Waterloo. Let's go to Waterloo and talk about the Vikings volleyball team real quick and then wrap up that MVAC because we can't forget about Waterloo.
Yeah, Waterloo last year was a team, again, one of those teams that, much like Campbell Memorial, that they have that room for improvement. 1-18 last year were the Vikings. And they're a team, though, that is bringing back a lot of youth, I think. Players that they lost, Grace Gambita was one that they lost. She seniored out. Waldeck, too. Brooke Waldeck, you know her from basketball. She's another one that seniored out, as well as Kylie Eddy, too. Another one. But, I mean, bringing back a couple of freshmen. Taryn Brown is one that's coming back. One that's coming back for her senior year. Jennifer Silepsky is one that's coming back. Miranda Long coming back for her sophomore year. Jocelyn Peterson coming back for her sophomore year. Kylie Duvall coming back for her sophomore year. And Sophia Gonzalez coming back for her junior year. So a lot of young players on this team that, much like Campbell, I expect to be making drastic improvements from year 1 to 2, from freshman to sophomore year. And I think a lot of these younger players are going to be a lot more effective this year and have that higher basketball IQ, much like we talked about Campbell Memorial. I think Waterloo is going to be in that same boat where we're going to see big improvements from last year to this year.
When you talk about Waterloo volleyball, it's a historically good program with a lot of winning tradition. You can't expect them to be down for long with that kind of standard at their program. They had a new coach last year, staying on this year for her second season. I think last year was just a culmination of a new coach, a new culture, and trying to gel a lot of players that were maybe focusing on basketball a little bit. And I just don't expect it to stay down for long. You can't with a program that's as historically good as Waterloo is.
Yeah, we know how proud Waterloo is with their sports teams, but especially volleyball and basketball, both boys and girls in basketball, and of course women's volleyball. So we know how proud they are of their sports teams, and it's a winning tradition, like you said, down there, and being ingrained a little bit with the Waterloo tradition, because I did my fair share of basketball games up there this past season, and the community and the support is strong for those sports teams down there, so they can't be down and out for long.
No, I do not. I would be shocked if they had a season with the results they had last year. I would just be stunned. They have a really good coach. The first year trying to instill a culture. Now in her second year, I think they're going to really start to build something special.
I think so too, and I think a lot of those freshmen are going to make those big jumps, and they're going to come back as much more effective sophomores. And I think the playing time they got too in their freshman year is going to pay huge dividends coming this season.
It's crazy. There were some teams last year that beat Waterloo for the first time in years. I think Jackson Milton was among those teams. Even 2019, they were good enough to beat teams that they had extended domination against. So last year, an anomaly, in my opinion, for Waterloo volleyball. Let's talk about their schedule and what they have looking in front of them in 2021.
Yeah, let me bring it up for us real quick. Waterloo, I believe, I want to say they open up. I don't know if it's this Saturday. A lot of MVAC teams were opening up their season on the Saturdays. So let me see if Waterloo did the same. As we bring it up, they open up their season. No, they're opening it up actually on a Monday. That's an away game versus Canton South. And then they go home versus Sebring the 24th. 28th, they're home versus Lake Center Christian of Hartville. And the 31st, they're away versus McDonald. Start in September, they're away versus Lowville the 2nd. 4th, they're home versus Valley Christian. 7th, home versus Mineral Ridge. 9th, home versus Jackson Milton. 14th, home versus Western Reserve. 16th, away versus Sebring. 23rd, home versus McDonald. 25th, away versus Valley Christian. 30th, away versus Mineral Ridge. 2nd of October, starting in October, they're home versus Northwest of Canal Fulton. Fifth, they are away versus Jackson Mountain. Seventh, away versus Western Reserve. 12th, away versus Matthews. And then the 14th, home versus East Palestine.
A lot of away games in a row down there before that last home game of the season.
I mean, it goes Jackson Mountain, Western Reserve, and Matthews. So trying to get fair share competition prior to the start of the season, or the start of the tournament. Excuse me.
Start of the tournament, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ending the season with what is that 3 out of 4 games on the road?
Yeah,
that's
those
a
are 3
tough
straight
call.
before you close out with East Palestine. Yeah.
So, and then you close out with a tough East Palestine team that has a very proud volleyball program. Their girls' programs are starting to succeed more and more, and we expect nothing less this year. So, you're not going to get a snooze fest right before tournaments either.
No, I don't think so at all, and I think it's going to be a good experience and good exposure for Waterloo before the tournament comes. And I'm excited to honestly see what they do. And I think this opener with Canton South is going to be good. And then before they have a home game versus Sebring, so I think this is going to be an interesting season for Waterloo. And I'm excited to see all these freshmen that are now sophomores, what type of step they take and how big of a jump it is.
If they want to send a message, they could do it by beating Jackson Milton or Western Reserve the first time they see them.
That'd be huge for them too, to build confidence in that program. That in itself can be a building block of confidence for future.
Both programs at Jackson Milton and McDonald dealing with a new coach. You never know how that'll go. We talked to both of them. They both seem like they have a perfect grip of the program. They both are well experienced. McDonald's head coach Klockner, Coach Klockner, he's been with the program. He's been an assistant, just taking that next step as a head coach. So don't expect any problems from them, but you just if you're going to beat a team that's ahead of you, there's no better time than when they're installing a brand new head coach.
Yeah, and I mean, you never know too. And I mean, any night, anybody's game. So
Any night, yes, right. Any given night. So now that does it for the MVAC teams that are in Division 3. Waterloo in the other tier, but still MVAC. So we wanted to do them real quick before we ventured into the 2 EOAC teams that live in Division 3. Let's start with East Palestine since they're on Waterloo's schedule. Talk about the Bulldogs and what they're expecting in 2021.
yeah, very successful last year. 14-7 overall, 9-5 within the conference. And East Palestine is one of those teams that they had a very successful volleyball program. But they are also a team that did lose a decent amount of seniors from last year. So, I mean, one player to start that no longer being there, Macy Rosen, is one that is lost. She had 22.9% kill percentage last year. Malin Bistarki, I think, is no longer there as well. She seniored out as well, 28.5% kill percentage, as well as Emily Berger, 144 kills last year, over 30% kill percentage, 30.7 actually to be exact. So you lose a few seniors from last year coming into this year. And I mean, the losses, Anthony, as you know, teams like that, you really you need to depend on the younger players going in from this year, and it's hard to just say when you lose a whole senior team like that. You really you need to depend on the younger players.
You know what? You just hope, and I think East Palestine doesn't have to hope. I think they're sure that the seniors that left a legacy and left their mark on the program. We all talk about it. Sometimes how you judge a senior or a coach is how they leave the program when they're done. And East Palestine is definitely a team that is going to have to see the impacts of those seniors extend into the new players that are going to be stepping up into leadership positions. You hope that those seniors taught them how to lead, how to do the things the right way, so they don't miss a beat when all those seniors go away. And East Palestine had a great group of leaders. I expect them to be, at least know how to lead and know how to hold up that standard.
Some players I think you got to watch out for too. Mia Lee, I think, is going to be huge for East Palestine going into this season. Alexis Robb too. Libby McElroy, I think, is going to be another one. So they still have pieces too that were a part of that. I think Mia was one of the biggest pieces. I think that was a part of that squad last year that was so successful. So I think they're going to have to depend on Mia Lee's leadership, and the one that played with a lot of those seniors last year and got to experience that culture and how they played. You're going to have to depend on her a little bit more, and I think she's going to be big going forward for this Palestine Bulldog program. But I do expect continued success, I think, from the Lady Bulldogs this season.
And everyone in the EOAC knows you have to deal with Wellsville in that league. Not going to change this year. I mean, Wellsville's going to be the team that someone's going to have to prove they can beat if they want to win the EOAC. But a very strong conference. You got United in there as well that we'll talk about next. You have Lisbon, that is a good volleyball team. So a lot of good, strong programs in that conference, and East Palestine might be in the thick of it.
You talk about that too, and they open up the season with Wellsville at home the 25th, and they go right to United the 26th. That's an away game.
Boom, boom.
So, bam, bam, and then they go continue it in.
You know what? It continues our segments of talking about, day one, week one games for volleyball. We talked about Lakeview and Girard yesterday. This matchup between East Palestine and Wellsville and East Palestine United could pay dividends for the conference for the whole season, and that's the first 2 games of the year.
Huge. And then it goes to Columbiana the 31st, then goes into the 1st of September, home versus Heartland Christian.
Wow.
Columbiana was home too. And then 2nd is away versus Lisbon, 7th away versus Valley Christian. And then the 8th, they have an opponent that they're waiting to hear from, but they definitely want to get someone scheduled. The 9th are away versus Latonia, 14th home versus Southern, the 15th home versus Cheney, 16th away versus Wellsville, 21st home versus United. So twice they play Wellsville and United back to back. 22nd away versus Heartland Christian. So they go Wellsville United, Heartland Christian right in the middle of the season. Columbiana, the 23rd is away. The 27th Youngstown East is away. The 28th home versus Lisbon. 29th away versus Mooney. 30th home versus Valley Christian. The 5th home versus Latonia. 7th away versus Southern. 13th they're trying to get someone scheduled. And the 14th close out the season with Waterloo. So a lot of games looks like on the docket right now.
Their first 3 games might be the most important of the season. And those first 3 games are against the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the EOAC last year.
Yeah, I was reading up on the games. 22 games on the docket, 20 games scheduled. They're looking to schedule 22. They're looking for 2 more opponents, but 20 games confirmed and scheduled for Bulldogs, and they're looking for 2 more. So not shying away from loading up that schedule with as many games as possible for this very young team to get a little bit more experience.
We're going to learn a lot about that team right off the bat. Wellsville United, Columbiana to start the first 3 games of the season. That could be hinged. They could be chasing a lot at the end of that stretch, or they could be planting their flag firmly by the end of that stretch. Maybe out of all the teams we previewed, a lot of teams open up with important games, but that might be the biggest 3-game stretch to open up a season that we've talked about so far.
And you get 2 home and 1 away, with the United being the only away one, but you get Wellsville and Columbiana, a pair of home games.
Wow.
That first few days, first few games. So that's huge, and it could be huge for East Palestine to grab a hold of that EOAC lead early.
We're gonna learn a lot about the EOAC in the first week of volleyball, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
Meaningful volleyball right in August. Whew.
Yeah, gonna be exciting, I think, for the Bulldogs, and we just gotta see, are they able to replace those seniors and still be as effective as last year? I think they can, but they're gonna be tested early.
Let's scoot over to another team that hopes to be in the top tier of the EOAC. United lives in the Division 3 as well. They made it to the district semifinals last year, fell the South Range. Talk about United, what they're bringing to the table this year.
Yeah, 14-9 last year was United, 9-5 within the conference. Looking at some of the players that was lost last year, one of the players I think you have to look at, Brooklyn Smith, one of the seniors, 118 kills last year, 24+ kill percentage that's lost. But some players another player too that it's lost to, I didn't want it. Savannah Burton, 139 kills, 29.9% kill percentage. So another player lost. But I mean, you're bringing back Tori Schlappet, I think, or Shappet, I want to say, 244 kills.
Just not the first one, but the second one. Shappet.
Shap it. Okay, I wanted to make sure. I wanted to confirm. I know you're the names a lot better, the pronunciations for some of the names.
The first time I looked at that, I was like,
I looked at it too. I said it the first time, and I was like, wait, there's not an L in there. That's Shap it. I was like, that T has to be silent.
It's intimidating, but it's just a silent T. So that's all. I mean, that T is intimidating, but it's just silent.
But I'll tell you who is intimidating. It is Double T that is on the volleyball court. 244 kills.
With the dynamite,
Yeah.
She's just electric. What a great hitter for United to bring back. Led the team in kills last year. Very hard to deal with, and they're going to have a fun time finding new ways to get her the ball here in 2021.
A very solid 37.6 kill percentage to complement the 244 kills. I think she's going to have an even bigger senior year this year, and I think she's going to be a huge leader for that United team, and I think it's going to be a part of what makes that United team so successful this year.
One of the big things they have to think about is who's going to set for them this year, because Haley Dees was one of the best setters in the area last year. She graduates, so someone's going to be stepping up into that setter position. And that's one of the things in volleyball. We don't know who they're setting until we see them, but it's going to be interesting to see how they bring a new setter into the fold. We already talked about Mackenzie Firth, their head coach, who's a first-year head coach at United. It's going to be interesting to see who she develops as a setter and who's going to run that offense, because setters are so important in volleyball. They're your quarterback for your football junkies. That they have to be able to run the offense, and it doesn't matter how good Tori Shap it is, if the setter doesn't get her the ball in the right spot, not going to matter. So United has to make sure they're sure on the setter position.
Yeah, and you know what? We can't go to United without mentioning Taylor Cope either, the 6'1" junior coming back. 53 blocks last year, 28 of those were solo. I expect her to have those block numbers be even higher this year. I think with Coach Firth and what she can implement with United, I think if she implements Cope into that system the right way, I think you could see Cope 100+ blocks in the season easily, with that height advantage already being half the battle.
The good thing about it is whoever they do put in that setting position, they got a lot of toys to work with, and they have a good defense behind them that gets the ball and not get her out of system a lot. So whoever does get put in that setter spot, they're going to have as easy of a job as you would like to kind of adapt to a varsity setter. You're going to have all your hitters back. You're going to have a good back row defense, and I think they'll be okay no matter who they put in that setting position.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said too, go watch the interview too we had with Coach Firth too, and I mean, she'll tell you too. I mean, she has high hopes for this season, and she's pretty confident in this team. And that, yes, what you lost, you do lose some pieces too, and you lose one of your top setters too, 500+ assists last year. Ooh. But you are confident with what you're bringing back, that you can incorporate them with some younger players and still continue that success of the program. And I think United will be just fine this season.
The thing to watch out for, especially in their first couple matches, ball handling mistakes. Are they going to get a lot of double touch? That's the biggest mistake young setters make, or new setters, a little bit antsy with their hands, and they get those double touch calls. So hopefully for United's sake, they don't run into that problem, because their first couple games are very hard. Let's run into their schedule and see what they got.
They open up the season home versus Minerva on the 23rd, and then they're home again the 24th, home versus Columbiana, 26th home versus East Palestine, 31st home versus Lisbon. Before going into September, the 2nd, they're away versus Valley Christian, the 4th away versus Lordstown, the 7th home versus Leetonia, the 9th home away versus Southern, 11th home versus Heartland Christian, 13th home versus South Range, 14th home versus Wellsville, 16th away versus Columbiana, 20th away versus Salem, the 21st away versus East Palestine, 23rd away versus Lisbon, 27th home versus Poland, 28th home versus Valley Christian, 30th away versus Leetonia, the 5th starting in October, home versus Southern, 7th away versus Wellsville, the 9th away versus Heartland Christian, and the 14th away versus Rootstown. And I mean, that's a very tough non-conference schedule. You're going Poland, you're going Salem, you're going South Range. I mean, a very
I mean, this United team is a team that feels like they can really make a run in Division III. I think the problem they ran into last year is their schedule was mostly Division IV, and they weren't used to that jump in Division III. And when they had to play South Range in the district semis, as good as United was, they just weren't there yet. They weren't into that spot where they could play a Division III strong Division III team. So they've put a lot of Division III, some Division II teams on that schedule in order to prepare them better for the tournament.
Yeah, and I think they have a very strong schedule, and I think they're going to be well prepared come tournament time. And they loaded up their schedule too. I believe there's 20 plus games on this schedule as well. So not shying away from a very tough schedule and playing pretty much every other day.
Yeah, I think there'll be a much more fortified team when tournament comes. They might not have the highest seed in the tournament, because that schedule is going to beat you up a little bit. Of course, when you play tougher, you might suffer some losses, but whoever has to play them, you're going to be a little bit more shaky because now all of a sudden they're experienced with that level of volleyball. They've played enough teams to not be surprised when that Division III tournament gets really rolling.
Yeah, starting Monday, they're playing 5 games they're averaging 5 games every 10 days for the next month. So, I mean, they're going to be well prepared, and they're going to get 20 plus games in before the start of the tournament.
Not a lot of time to get back in the gym with that kind of game schedule. We talked to all of our volleyball coaches about that. United will be no different, and they're going to look to try to win the EOAC like everyone else. They're going to have to knock off Wellsville in order to do it. Wellsville has been having a firm hold of that league for a while. Dan McKinstry steps down as the coach, but they still have plenty of pieces coming back. We'll talk about them in Division IV tomorrow. That's the only EOAC teams that reside in Division III. We have a couple of more to do. We'll take a quick break and be back with them next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
When Mother Nature starts flexing her muscles, make sure you're prepared for comfort. For over a decade, NDC Heating and Cooling has been sending their team of experienced, certified, and knowledgeable technicians to service the area. NDC services all makes and models and carries a wide selection of furnaces, air conditioners, and indoor air quality products. To schedule an appointment, call 330-457-2562. That's 330-457-2562. For all your residential and commercial heating and cooling needs in Columbiana or Mahoning counties, call NDC Heating and Cooling in New Waterford, Ohio, where our thermostat is always set on quality.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Quality,
customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Anthony Hartwig alongside my buddy, my friend Ty Bartell, as he joins us every day from 12 to 3. We have 3 more volleyball teams to preview in Division 3. And let's start with the 2 that are always going to be connected at the hip in Urson and Mooney. Mooney made the Division 3 district championship game last year against Crestview. Eventually fell in that match, but gave them a good game. Let's talk about what Mooney's bringing back and what they have to look forward to in 2021.
Yeah, bringing up Mooney's schedule. We talked about them 10-15 last year, 5-0 though within the conference. So they definitely have a lot to look forward to, I think, going into this season, and a lot to build on from last season. Going into this year from last year, though, one of the biggest things is they did lose Katie Hugh, as she 226 kills, 29% kill percentage. Losing her is going to be a little bit of a blow, as well as Regan as well. Losing Regan as well, that was 199 kills, 32.6% kill percentage. So those are unfortunate. But I mean, what you're bringing back, Elena Francis coming back for her senior year. She had 113 plus kills last year. She's going to be big. Also, Elena Scavina too, another big one that I think is going to be serve a huge role for this team, as well as, you know what, she did big with basketball, and I think she's going to do good with volleyball too. Maria Fire coming into her junior year, I think, is going to be a big role player too for this volleyball team going forward. And honestly, I think this is a team that is going to be one of those teams that I think are going to see a lot of those young players make those drastic improvements. And Maria Fire is one of those too. 80 blocks total, 53 assisted, 27 solo. But she's another one of those players I think you'll see more effective on offense. But she's I think, going to get better all around coming into her junior year.
Yeah, no, and now she gets the opportunity to get more and more confident. I feel like her first 2 years, she was on the varsity squad. She made varsity impact. Maybe not the most confident girl in the world, but it happens. Some girls just aren't confident. Some players, whether they be boys or girls, just aren't confident to start their varsity experience. Now she has 2 years under her belt. She's a junior. She's an upperclassman. It's time for her to step into her own and really become what she has the potential to be. And you watch her in basketball or volleyball, potential is through the roof. So definitely expect her to take the big step this year and maybe put some of that offensive production on her shoulders for the team.
Also helps that Mooney is bringing back Angelina Rotuno, that had 389 assists last year, as well as another good player too, and Marissa Bowman, who had 120 assists in her own right last year as well. So you get a couple of really solid setters coming back too. And I mean, honestly, I think that's going to be huge for Mooney going forward this season.
Bringing back both setters is just, anytime you bring back a setter that's experienced like Rotuno, that's a big step forward. Replacing a setter is the hardest thing to do in volleyball. You don't see a lot of programs get setter after setter after setter after setter that are excelling and elite. But when you're able to return one, then that's one less thing you have to worry about and it's the hardest thing to kind of develop. So getting their setter back is going to be huge. They still have Scavina and Francis, who are both powers on the outside. Fire will be plenty of work in the middle. They should be okay. I know they lose Katie Huff, which is a big loss, but they should be pretty okay when it comes to how they're going forward.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you might lose Katie Huff, but I think there's a lot of big players in this organization and within this program that I think are going to be able to make Mooney successful yet again.
Let's talk about their schedule. It's got to be tough because Mooney's always is. What do they have in front of them in 2021?
Home versus Berkshire to start on the 21st of August. Then they are away versus Howland the 24th. Home versus Canfield the 26th. Away versus Akron-Hoban the 28th. Home versus Girard the 30th. Home versus Fitch the 31st. Away versus Lakeview starting in September the 8th. Away versus East Liverpool the 9th. Home versus Salem the 13th. Home versus Ursuline the 16th. Home versus Crestview the 18th. Away versus Springfield, New Middletown Springfield the 20th. Away versus Boardman the 23rd. Home versus Western Reserve the 27th. Home versus East Palestine the 29th. Home versus Cheney the 30th. Then starting in October, away versus Harding the 5th. Home versus Akron-Hoban the 6th. Away versus East the 7th. Away versus Struthers the 11th. Away versus Ursuline the 12th. And home versus Hubbard the 14th.
That is a gauntlet of a schedule, and you can see why, despite I think their final record last year before the tournament started wasn't amazing. They weren't a high seed, but with that schedule and they come into the D3 tournament, they're always dangerous, and they're going to be just as good this year. You can't sleep on Mooney in the D3 tournament ever.
Loaded it up to 22 games on the docket too, all scheduled, all confirmed. So they loaded it up with the max amount of games that they can. They're playing the max amount in a schedule, and they did not shy away from competition. Playing Akron-Hoban too. How about that in a home and away 1-1 series throughout the season?
In September, I think they had a 5-game stretch that was Fitch, East Liverpool, Lakeview.
Yeah, I think it starts, what is it? End of August. Yeah, they go, it goes Girard. It goes Canfield the 26th, Hoban the 28th, Girard the 30th, Fitch the 31st, Lakeview the 8th, and East Liverpool the 9th.
That's a brutal stretch. I mean, all of those teams are top notch. Lakeview, the 1 seed. Canfield was Division 1, very good. We already talked about them. Fitch, we know what Fitch brings to the table. Girard. I mean, it's a brutal stretch of the schedule, and my word, Mooney is really going to prepare themselves for the tournament with that stretch. All of those teams are at least Division 2.
Not to mention, they also scheduled Western Reserve too, not shying away from competing against the Blue Devils too. We know how good that program is as well. I mean, just really Hubbard too, to close out the season with Hubbard too. And we know how much that program has been built too. So, I mean, not shying away at all from competition.
It's a brutal schedule, and that's one of the reasons why they made a deep tournament run last year, because they are so well prepared for that bracket. And a lot of teams in Division 3 just don't see the schedule that Mooney does.
Yeah,
One
I
team
agree.
We'll have just as tough of a schedule is Mooney's bitter rival in Ursuline. Let's talk about what the Irish are looking at in 2021.
Yeah, they were even at 12-12 last season, and honestly, they had a pretty solid season going into last year. And looking at some of the players that they are bringing back, Paige Ogden is one that's coming back for her senior year. Gracie Pesa is coming back for her junior year. Kelly Pepolowski coming back for her junior year as well. Liza Barbado is coming back for her junior year as well. Trinity Lamb coming back for her junior year. Grace Durkin for her junior year as well. Samantha Campbell coming back for her junior year. But that's the players that are coming back. Let's talk a little bit about what they lost going into this year. Kelsey Kovacs is one of the big ones that no longer there. Maris Barbado is one of the captains from last year. Olivia Pavlik is no longer there. Alea Stewart is no longer there. Julia Nutter another one captain that's no longer there as well. So, I mean, they did lose a decent amount in seniors, but they did have a decent amount of the younger players get significant varsity experience. And you expect Ursuline, much like Mooney, that's over the years, they've built this program up and they go through a gauntlet of a schedule for a reason. You think that these young girls are going to be well experienced come tournament time by the time they go through their schedule.
Yeah, that junior class is loaded and stacked with a lot of talent. And so you think, oh, they lost a lot of seniors, but they have a lot of seniors now and players that are coming in to be upperclassmen as juniors that are going to be just as good leaders. I don't think they lose a lot of leadership when they talk about what they're bringing back compared to what they're losing. A lot of people are just going to step right into that leadership position. I don't think they'll be searching too far and wide for players that can be leaders on the team.
It's the mark of a good program, Anthony, and that's exactly what Ursuline has tried to build with all their athletics, and they've done it with volleyball too. And you look at 12-12, and you think, oh wow, I mean, they did okay last season, but you got to read between the lines.
Yeah, not with that schedule. 12-12 is solid.
Those 12 wins were against significant teams, and those 12 losses were losses, but they were close losses to significant teams that are all definitely going to be back on the docket. We expect too for their schedule this year.
Paige Ogden is going to be big to watch. Liza Barbado is also going to be big. Those players that played on the softball team that made the deep run and had such a standard for excellence. We talked about it all the time. When you have success in one sport and multiple sport athletes trickle into the next, that standard of excellence trickles into that team. So the players on that softball team that are coming back for the volleyball season are going to be able to take that standard that they established in the softball season and trickle it down into the players on the volleyball team. And that's going to be big for this program.
When you have great athletes, it's easy to do that too. And I mean, perfect example, look what Brady Shannon did and how successful Ursuline was in all fronts in baseball, basketball, football. Same thing with Cam Hollabaugh last year with JFK. And the same thing too with Bo Brungard and the Springfield Tigers. Bo playing both basketball as well. They made a solid run too in basketball. So, I mean, these are both teams that, that build these players up that go into play all these other sports, and they're competing, and what they're doing working out in these other sports is helping them in other sports as well, in your sport as well. And in this instance, I think you're right, Anthony. I think the softball success will trickle into volleyball.
Let's talk about the schedule for the Irish and what they have in front of them in 2021.
They open up the season the 23rd versus Brookfield. That's a home game. Then they're away the 24th versus Fitch. Home versus Harding the 26th. Home versus Newton Falls the 28th. Home versus Heartland Christian the 30th. Away versus Canfield the 31st. Away versus East the 2nd. Away versus Cheney the 7th. Home versus Badger the 9th. Away versus Maplewood the 14th. Away versus Mooney the 16th. Away versus Berkshire the 18th. Away versus Harding the 20th. Home versus East the 22nd. Home versus Struthers the 25th. Away versus Salem the 27th. Away versus Jackson Milton the 29th. Home versus Howland the 30th. Home versus Mooney the 12th, starting in October. And away versus Heartland Christian in October the 16th.
They open the season with Fitch, and that's going to be a tough one to open with. Or Fitch opens the season with Ursuline. I don't know if that's Ursuline's first match.
Yeah, Ursuline's first match is Brookfield. The 23rd is what's on the docket, and then Fitch is immediately following the 24th. But still, two tough matchups right off the gate for Ursuline again.
That's going to be a big matchup. We talked a lot about the first week matchups in volleyball. Another big one, Ursuline versus Fitch. Ursuline, a team trying to make their stamp. Fitch, we obviously know what they're bringing to the table. Interesting matchup there in the first game of the season for Fitch, second game of the season for the Irish.
I mean, you see too, they're scheduling Badger and Maplewood, Berkshire again, much like Mooney facing Berkshire, but not shying away from facing those teams that are out of conference and that you don't normally see.
Yeah, Canfield on there too, and Heartland twice. Heartland's a strong Division IV team, but a very strong program as well. So just like Mooney, nothing is going to be given to Ursuline. They're going to earn every win that they get.
I don't think so either, and I think Ursuline is going to be up for the challenge as they have a fresh group of girls ready to stake in those senior positions and those leadership positions. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Ursuline's going to perform this year.
And like every sport, you definitely have to look at the holy war. You have to circle that game and say Ursuline versus Mooney. Who's going to take bragging rights in this sport? It's not just football. It's taken seriously, and every athlete, whether they're playing volleyball, soccer, golf, basketball, it doesn't matter. They circle that game and they say, this is the biggest game of our year. We have to beat Mooney.
So you have too in the middle and then at the end of the season too.
So you circle that those two games with Mooney. Both teams, hope they split. YSN hopes they split so they can. You never want both teams one team to dominate. You want to be able to support both teams. So we're on the fence. We don't have skin in the game. So we like to see them split. But obviously, Ursuline and Mooney fans want to sweep that season series and have bragging rights for the rest of the volleyball season.
Yeah, and it's going to be big, too, depending on how Mooney is playing in the middle of the season. They have that tough stretch, and they do have Ursuline the 16th. Ursuline might be able to sneak that game away from Mooney. That is a home game for Mooney, too, and they play the end of the season, the 12th of October, home at Ursuline. Mooney does. So it's going to be interesting because if Ursuline can take that away game early and then have that home game end of the season to look forward to, it is possible. Mooney, though, you got to imagine it's going to be interesting that game because Mooney, you would hope to be sharp because they just played all these tough opponents as well. So it should be a good game.
That first matchup, very interesting because you don't know how they're going to respond to that very tough stretch and how that goes and how their mental state is going to be after those games. I mean, if they struggle in that stretch, Ursuline comes in and they're thinking, okay, we finally got a break or something. We can finally take a breath. Ursuline says not so fast, sneaks one in and beats them at home. And then they all of a sudden they get a home game against Mooney in the season. Could be a big matchup after a very tough stretch for Mooney.
Yeah, especially too for Steel Valley Conference sakes too. I mean, we expect with both East and Cheney trying to build their programs up, they're real competitors in this conference this year is going to most likely be Mooney and Ursuline for what we're expecting this year. I mean, anything can change obviously in the sport of volleyball, but we're expecting these two teams to be the significant competitors in the Steel Valley. So these two games can mean Steel Valley Conference on the line.
Yeah, and they're the only two Division III teams in the Steel Valley Conference. We talked about East and Cheney yesterday. They were a part of the Division II. So now, last but not least, I feel like South Range is sitting there alone because they're the only D3 team in their whole conference. But we have to talk about the Raiders, and that's how we'll kind of tip our hat and end the Division III preview. Talk about the Raiders and what they're looking forward to in 2021.
Yeah, they were 15-10 last year, 9-5 overall within the league. I know, Anthony, you specifically covered a lot of the Raiders, so you're going to have a lot to talk about. But we definitely know the biggest one, Izzy Lamparty, is going to be the biggest loss for the Raiders at 247 kills, 34.1% kill percentage. Losing that is going to be significant, I think, for the Raiders. But what you're bringing back a few of these younger players too coming back. Allison, what is it? Sour wine, bringing her back at 105 kills, 26.6% kill percentage. So I mean that's huge too. So I mean you do lose Izzy Lamparty, and that's going to be a significant loss, but not really a whole lot else as far as the significant playmakers last year. You're getting a lot of juniors that are returning as seniors this year, and I think you'd agree with me, Anthony, that I think the Raiders are going to be set up for a successful season this year.
Well, yeah, Izzy, I believe, memory serves, Izzy was the only senior last year for the Raiders, if I remember right, for volleyball.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So you lose a big piece in Izzy Lamparty, who led them in kills, led them in blocks. Was basically an asset everywhere on the court, but you return a lot. And you get a healthy Maria Primavera back. She got hurt in the middle of last season. A lot of players had to step into new roles, which will help them this year because now obviously those players that had to step up when Maria got hurt are going to be more experienced coming into this year than they anticipated. You got one of the best liberos in the area, and Reagan Irons coming back for her senior season. A lot of things to look forward to for the Raiders, but obviously very tough conference with everyone else being Division II. you're going to have to deal with some growing pains still, and you're going to have to really try to compete in a really tough league.
And I mean, you still bring back too Sarah Coons coming back for her sophomore year at 274 assists. You also have Jamie Farron, who had 256 assists last year. So I mean, you have some very good setters coming back to this team too. And I really like Coons coming back. 274 assists as a freshman, and she's coming back sophomore year. You could really develop her to be something even more special than she already is.
And Coons is one of those players that has the strong volleyball family. Mary Coons was a big asset in her volleyball career. Older sister graduated from South Range. Now Sarah Coons comes into the fold. They return both setters in their 6-2 offense, so I anticipate they run a 6-2 again with Farron and Coons both setting. And you can't talk about South Range without talking about what they're going through and the fact that Coach Irons diagnosed with health issues. They're trying to kind of play for Coach Irons this year. Kathy Kamara has stepped up and taken the head coaching position back. She left 2 years ago, now taking it back for an interim position this year to help out the team. It's going to be one of those emotional teams. It's going to be fun to watch them play with the energy and kind of, rally around this cause for playing for Coach Irons this year. And it's going to be one of the great stories of the volleyball season.
I think so too. And I think that it's going to be one of those stories that, we are going to follow pretty closely on YSN too. And just supporting the Irons family and everything that they're going through, and just obviously wishing the Raiders the best of luck in their season, as we know what they're playing for means a little bit more than the sport itself.
Yeah, I think when you talk about South Range volleyball this year, I think everyone on that team and everyone that supports them understands that there's more on the line right now than volleyball, and that's going to give them an edge in every match. They're going to be going hard every point. They want to win for the coach, and it's going to be tough. It's definitely a form of adversity to lose your coach and to have someone else step in. But, South Range in adversity and the way that program is, I don't expect them to kind of drop off because of the adversity. Adversity has been faced, and they're going to have to face it head on.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I mean, they're going to have to go through a tough schedule again. You talk about them having to play up in divisions, and I mean, it's going to be perfect for them come tournament time, though. They're going to have to go through that tough schedule.
Yeah, and let's talk about their schedule and what is in front of them in 2021.
I mean, it's going to be all hands on deck for that first game, because it is South Range versus Southeast in a battle of some pirates, as the Southeast Pirates of Ravenna play the South Range Raiders in an away game. So the Raiders go to the Pirates in a battle there. That is a first game of the season, the 21st. And that is a part of, I think, a tournament that also will be featuring West Branch as well. The 23rd, they go to Boardman for a home game, or excuse me, they're home versus Boardman, I should say, the 23rd, before going away to Struthers the 24th, away versus Jefferson the 26th, home versus Lakeview the 31st, home versus Girard the 2nd, away versus East Liverpool the 4th. The Poland Bulldogs are home the 7th, so they're playing Poland at home the 7th. The Hubbard Eagles away the 9th, United away the 13th, home versus Niles the 14th, home versus Struthers the 16th, home versus Jefferson the 21st, away versus Lakeview the 23rd, home versus East Liverpool the 25th, away versus Girard the 28th, away versus Poland the 30th, away versus Canfield the 4th, home versus Hubbard the 5th, and away versus Niles the 7th.
And man, you would think with that league and the times they have to play up that South Range would take a little bit of break on their non-conference schedule. Not at all. Not at all. The teams they're playing in the non-conference are going to be just as tough as their conference. We got Boardman on that schedule. You got East Liverpool twice. You have
Poland twice too.
Poland's in the 88 though.
Yeah. But I mean, talking about tough opponents is what I mean. Yeah, tough opponents. I mean,
playing Canfield. I mean, they are not taking any breaths in their non-conference schedule, and then they go in the conference and they're playing teams like Poland, Hubbard, Girard, and Lakeview. Of course, it's been so dominant in the 88. Man, that's going to really get them ready for that Division III tournament.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think their schedule is very tough, and I mean, going non-conference, going into the AAC, and playing Boardman a little bit too in the beginning of the season is going to be huge as well.
And let's look I'm looking at the bracket from last year. Because they were what, 15-10, you said?
Yes.
All right, so 15-10. Oops, wrong bracket. Super districts. 15-10 gave South Range the 5 seed in Division 3 Super District. So I mean that shows you what respect the coaches put on their schedule. 15-10 in a 26 team district with the Super Districts. Not a lot of 5 seeds coming in with a 15-10 record. So if they can boost that to like 18-7, then all of a sudden that seed might go up to a top 3.
Yeah, and especially playing up a lot of division too. You're playing up divisions almost every game. So I mean, I think it's easy to say that 15 to 18 wins can put South Range at a higher seed.
Yeah, they lost to Cardinal in the district championship game. So that's the team that'll probably be in their district that they'll try to have a rematch against. But a lot of things to look forward to for South Range. We're going to try to get Coach Kamara on towards the end of the week to talk about the situation there, what it's been like taking over, how important it is to have someone that has been in the program and knows these girls pretty well to come and step in this situation, and just some of the things that South Range is going through and how they plan to kind of deal with it. Because as tough as it is to go through the things that the Irons are, we all know that life doesn't stop. You know, volleyball doesn't stop. They still have to play volleyball. So we're going to continue to look at South Range the year and see how they handle the situation they're going through. We'll talk to Coach Kamara later in the week as we try to get her on. That concludes our Division 3 volleyball schedule, though. We got through that a lot quicker. We're getting good at this.
One more division, and then we're done with the volleyball previews. So we're just about done.
We have Division 4 coming at you tomorrow. For now, we will take one more break, and we will be back to wrap up this edition of Running Point next on ysnlive.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
"60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love."
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention, current lessees of most makes and models. Tri-State Ford has a special offer for you. Come to Tri-State Ford, turn in your lease early, and get up to $2,500 in trade equity toward a new Ford or pre-owned vehicle. Plus, our exclusive Tri-State Ford Advantage includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Early lease turn-in for most makes and models with up to $2,500 trade equity.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State 40 Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig along with Ty Bartell as we kind of wrap up this day, and we want to thank Dan Yeagley, the head coach of the South Range football team, for joining us right before practice. We definitely appreciate his time. I feel like we were very courteous with it. And, man, when coaches decide that they'll give you 10 minutes before practice, we definitely have to tip their hat to that. Dan Reardon, the head coach of Ursuline football, thank you for joining us as well. We wrapped up our Division III volleyball previews, and now as we preview tomorrow, we have a jam-packed show tomorrow for you. We have Brian Tolnar coming on at 1. We are actively trying to get Brandon Pluchinski and Taylor Ross to join that segment, the winners of the Greatest Golfer Tournament on the girls and boys side. We have some football players that we're almost confirmed with that we're trying to get tomorrow. And then we also have to dive into Division 4 for our final volleyball previews. So a very fun Wednesday in the middle of the week tomorrow. Ty, what can you say about the Wednesday tomorrow and what we're going to bring to the table? I know you got a lot going on. We're going to have a fun Wednesday.
We're going to have a fun Wednesday. And I mean, we're going to be talking. I mean, it's going to be our day of cleansing, talking on pretty much every sports. But before the next 2 days are going to be probably pretty heavily dominated with football talk, because the start of the season, we got some games starting Thursday. And of course, Friday is going to be the mecca, the big day about football talk. We know there's going to be a lot of talking football, a lot of comments on football, a lot of excitement surrounding that Friday. But Wednesday, still, we have Brian Tolnar on. So anybody you want that golf tip of the week, we'll be talking to a little bit of golf too. So any kind of golf tips, or if you have a question for Brian too, pop on, throw it in the comments section, and we'll ask Brian for you too. I mean, great mind in golf for not only the area, but just great mind in golf in general. So definitely one of the guys that are fun to talk to, I think, for both of us.
4 games on the docket on Thursday for football as we have Ursuline getting off the season. We talked to Dan Reardon today. We have Poland Canfield. We have Salem versus Crestview, and also Howland Niles all on Thursday.
Yeah, and we can even on Thursday too, we can even look into those, because we have, with the exception of just Bishop Hartley, all those other teams are YSN covered schools too, I believe. So we can go a little bit deeper dive into each one of those games, talk a little bit about each one of those games if we want to. We can do maybe that as well. So I mean,
we'll do our research. We'll dive into Bishop Hartley a little bit and see what the Irish have coming for them, because I know that's a strong program.
Yeah, and of course, we already know Power Hour. We're going to have the Pick'ems too, so it's going to be a full slate of shows on YSN.
Yeah, everyone's excited to be on Power Hour Friday for the Pick'ems.
Absolutely.
Our Fridays for Power Hour are about to be loaded with people, because everyone wants to be in that Pick'em tournament, or whatever you want to call it. We took that very seriously last year, and we're gonna amp it up a little bit this year, so it'll be fun. Power Hour comes up next. They had a day off yesterday. They're back today, 3 to 4. DJ and the boys will have you covered from 3 to 4, and we'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 3. So until then, we're going on a 23.5-hour break. We enjoyed today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have an excellent evening, everybody.